Good and fair evening, my friends. Welcome back to the tavern. It is good to see you all. I hope you are all doing quite well on this lovely winter's eve. Alright, let's see who all we've got in. Taylor James McKinnon over on the Facebook portal. Welcome in, my friends. I'm very glad that you could join us. We've got Gunnar, we've got the Bear, we've got Frost, we've got Sir Chatty Matty, we have Milu, we have Sword Talk, we have Teresa. Welcome in, my friends. It's good to see you all. I'm so very glad. Shadow! Good evening, brother. Nice to see you. Ace is in as well. There's a deep voice now in my headphones. I can lower it if you like. Welcome back, my friends. I hope that you're all having a wonderful week. I hope that you all are taking care of yourselves, drinking plenty of water, eating plenty of delicious food, and staying warm if you prefer, or cold if you prefer. If you're like the lady and I, you prefer it to be very, very cold. Yeah, we got most of the regulars in. All right, Matty raided in, so before we get too many folks in here, let's go ahead and toot the raid horn so we don't scare everybody new off. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Thank you for the raid. Welcome in. Oh, and Tonks, I see you over on the YouTube portal. Good evening, good evening. Welcome in. Tyson, hello. Esther is here. She says, hey there, just wanted to share a quick update from the heart of Australia, where the wildfires are raging fiercely. It's a situation that's captivating and turning all reports. I wasn't aware that there were wildfires burning in Australia. I almost wish I was a frost bear at the moment. 42 degrees Celsius, 108 Fahrenheit. That is ridiculous. Nothing popped up for me, Marty, but I'll trust you. I'll take your word for it. Nothing popped for me. But I'll thank you for it anyways. Guten Abend, Tyson. Good to see you, my friend. I like to be cold enough to deserve a blanket or sheet when going to bed. I'm with you there, Ace, because I like to be covered. I like to be protected. I like to be cozy. But I don't like to be boiled alive by my own metabolism. Those are things I do not enjoy. Throws pillow into it. Fair enough. I would say that is a leveled and appropriate response, Matty. Yeah, it's not quite that cold here. I think we're 49, but it's just like that. Milo says, if Canada is frozen, Aussie burns. When we melt, we catch on fire. Out here where the lady and I live, it's very much like that too. As soon as it's not raining, as soon as it dries out a little bit, everything is on fire in California. Yes, the lady and I, we do not get along with the heat. The hotter it is, the more miserable it is. And our child is a mutant. He loves it to be hot. He'll bake himself alive in his bedroom. We'll be out here, it'll be a nice, leveled 60 degrees or so. And then we'll go in there and he'll have turned the heater on. And it's like walking into a sauna. But not a good sauna, like a stinky teenage sauna. It's terrible. Still trying to understand how me contesting one diagnosis is in my file how it caused World War III. Couldn't tell you, Matty. Jessica, hello, good to see you. Welcome in. Grab your seat. Settle in. BRB forgot to feed the green owl that speaks wrong. Now that it's mostly AI. Forgot to feed the green owl that speaks wrong. Now that it's What did you just say, Milo? That doesn't even see... Is that Canadian English? Is that why I don't understand it? Oh, duo, right. Okay, alright, there you go. It's an intense situation. The feed the green owl that speaks wrong. Now that it's mostly... Yeah, that's true. That's a fair description. I do the chess and the music. I do the chess and the music on there to maintain... Because I think I have like a 1,500 day streak or something. And I was going back through there to relearn Guelga with the lady, but their Guelga lessons are terrible now. 1250 day streak. Here, let me see. Yeah. So everybody knows I'm not full of it. Well, it's backwards over on TikTok, but yeah, 1250. But we were going through, we were learning German, Norwegian, and Gaeilge together, and it just ends up not being worth it because it's dreadful. As it says, it's an intense situation here. Wildfires are raging, and the temperature is sort of 44 degrees. The heat is oppressive, and the flames are a constant reminder of the challenges we're facing. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. That is very hot. Pistol, hello! It's been a while since we've seen you in. Very glad that you could drop by, grab your seat, fill your mug, enjoy yourself. Jessica, in my head I greeted you, but if I did not, I'll do it again. Hello, it's good to see you, love. I'm glad that you could drop in. Alright then, friends, we are in the thick of Harry Potter Book 7. And we have some very interesting revelations happened during our last story time. Now, this was something that I was able to deduce very early, and I think most of the advanced readers probably did too, that the laughing blonde child in the photograph was Luna Lovegood's father. Now, they made that very obvious because we've only met Luna Lovegood's father, once prior to this. So him coming in and being so prominent made it clear he was going to be very, very necessary in the story. K-Babe, okay, alright, it's been a while since you've been in. K-Babe, Christine? No, Kristen. Is it Kristen, yes? No, I haven't forgotten you, but it's been a while since you've been in, so Kelsey, okay. I'm gonna try to remember it. You gotta drop in at least once a week so I remember. I remember all of you and all the interactions that we have, but you have to be in here every once in a while so I can keep your names at the front of my head. It's not that I don't love you all. It's not that I don't love you all, but the lady and I interact with pretty close to 1,000 people a week. I try to remember everybody, but I'm getting old. Kelsey, it's good to see you, love. I'm glad that you could drop in. Hello. Life is going the way. Hope you're all enjoying Harry Potter. Yes. I do love you, Shadow. I love you bunches, as a matter of fact. I just told she who will not be smooched in this heat. I have enough cold beer in the fridge for about 20 minutes. Yeah, fair enough. No, I'm just teasing you. It's my fault because you've been around for a long time, and your screen name, K-Babe. I remember it because it's funny. Because the first time that you popped in, it was sort of awkward because my wife was sitting across from me, and I said K-Babe, and it was like funny because she's like, "Who are you talking to?" It's weird because it's not winter yet. We only just started getting cold and rain out here where the lady and I live. Only just now. One of my work's clients has a person named Kelsey. It's a good name. It is a good name. It's a fine name. I'm usually typically running late, but today was different. I woke up bright and early at 4 a.m. Now that everything is checked off my to-do list, it's time to kick back and enjoy some well-deserved relaxation with Elsie. I'd say that's fair enough. When the tavern opens IRL, we'll have to wear name tags for a while. I think once I've seen all of your faces and we've interacted, it'll be easier for me to remember everybody's names on the front end. But yeah, you all may need to be like, "Hello, I am so and so, screen name so and so," so that the lady and I can recognize you all. Because she's even worse with names than I am. Should we put our username? Yeah, you'd have to be username and then your real name so that I can recognize everybody. I think I've seen Esther. I think I've seen your face in one of your profile pictures, perhaps. But I haven't seen most of your faces. Some of you have me on Facebook, and so I've seen you that way. Like I can see a very little tiny picture of Pistol over on TikTok, and I see little tiny pictures of folks over on Facebook, the Facebook portal. I've seen Quirt. Quirt is devilishly handsome, for anybody who's wondering. I've seen Tyson. I've seen Bear. I've seen Matty. Some of you I've had calls with, so. I have a face for radio, my mother says. Yeah, well, some of us do. That's alright. Yeah, I've seen Shadow's face quite a few times. Shadow's probably one of the few people in here right now who I know in real life, who I've met in real life. Alexander, hello, welcome in. So very glad that you could join us. Kelsey, thank you for all of the combos. Good lord. Thank you for the bits. I appreciate you. Tips to the tavern keeper are always appreciated. Wow, face for radio. Geez, that's me. I've been told a great many times that I have a face for radio. Subtitles in audio in Espanol. I do not, Alexander. Over on Facebook, I don't know if you can understand English, but over on Facebook, they auto-translate into, well, they might do it on YouTube too, I don't know. It auto-translates into Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. I can read and understand a little bit of Spanish, but I don't speak it. I can't imagine keeping up with so many of us. And the lady and I were talking about this the other day. In December, and this is we're incredibly grateful for how the community is growing. We're incredibly grateful for how many of you come and okay, so Alexander, you said you enjoy the information that comes from the videos. I'm glad that you enjoy. Again, I don't speak Spanish. I understand a little bit of it. I can understand contextual Spanish, but I don't speak or read it very well. Again, the lady and I are very grateful for all of the growth that has happened over the last year. But at the end of last year, December, we added over almost 30,000 people to the tavern community, and I try to keep up with everybody. It's a lot. I think we've just in December and in early January we had over 1,500 comments and over 400 messages from people. Yeah, it's been insane. It's been insane. And most of them are on Facebook. Most of them are on Facebook, but some are on Instagram, and some are on YouTube. And then TikTok started growing again, which was weird. We weren't expecting that. And even Twitch has gained a few hundred people in the last 3 months of last year. So it's wild how quickly the tavern is growing. And I'm out of here. See you all soon. Kelsey, it's good to see you, love. We'll see you again soon, hopefully. Rest well. Thank you for the bits. I don't actually keep a to-do list. Rather, I simply use it as a colorful way to describe how my day unfolded. Fair enough. That's basically how the lady and I work. But yeah, Jessica, in just Facebook and Instagram gained, between the two of them, gained 20,000 people between the 1st of December and now. It's insane. Like, I don't know what we're doing that is so enjoyable, but I'm grateful for all of the folk who are coming in. Morph, thank you for the marking us on your map over on TikTok. We appreciate you for that. That's very kind of you. Tips to the Tavern Keeper are always appreciated as well. It definitely does. I appreciate all of you. I do have some videos on the ASG coming out. We're actually doing a full spectrum series, Alexander, on the Celtic pantheons. Starting in this month, we're going to be doing a whole series on Celtic pantheons, and that will include the ASG and the Tuatha De Danann. Uncle Scooby, hello, my friend. Hope you and the lady are doing well, and that you both have a wonderful Thursday. And the lady scoop in you. I don't know why that got censored. Unfortunately, I've been battling the influenza all week, but finally feel better. Very good. I'm glad to hear that you're feeling better. Obviously, dealing with the flu is terrible every time. I got to think about it, and I'm not sure if I'm going on 2 or 3 years. It's going to be close to 3 years, Tyson, because you were in for the first readathon, if I remember. Sorry for the short visit. I have to, unfortunate hour in the morning. I am sorry to hear that, Beauty and Blasphemy. It's good to see you. I'm glad that you dropped in. Rest well, and we'll see you in the next story time. The lady will be on Sunday. Congrats, that's huge. Very well deserved. You both put in so much effort for this community. I feel like we don't do enough, if I'm being perfectly honest, but I appreciate you saying so. Like, we want to make more. Like, I feel like I should already have... I've been promising you guys books for over a year. And I feel like I should have the books done, but they're still not even close to being done. Joker, how's it going? Oh, we're just chatting up, my friend. We're gonna get here reading in a minute. Pistol, you've been around for a while. You've been around for at least 2 years. Same thing with, I think Joker's been around for at least a year and a half, 2 years. Oh gosh, Castle. I'm absolutely thrilled to have 6,000 followers. I don't know if I can handle it more. It is a lot. The lady, at the end of December, the tavern had just over 1.5 million views across everything. And it was a lot. It was a lot to take in. Because again, we don't make these things necessarily because we're trying to... In fact, we just tell stories. I only started doing this to begin with because people were asking me to do it. So the fact that there are so many people that enjoy it is mind-blowing to me. Wow, that is very loud. Why is the music so loud? Hang on a second. It's just very, very loud. Don't know why it was up that loud, but... If I remember right, I found the tavern when I was still in my apartment. That was 4 years ago. If I remember right, I think, Pistol, one of the first times you came in was back when we were still doing the lore streams on TikTok, where I would take questions about folklore and mythology. Which would have been, that would have been 4 years ago. So we started doing the reading a little more than 2.5 years ago. We will run ads first before we get into... Yes, I'll pop the ads here in a second. 7-stream streak, hey, even when he's sick. It's wild to think I've been coming in here that long. It's wild to me too. I'm surprised you're all not bored of us by now, if I'm being honest. It's been amazing, Quote. Like, again, Quote, you were with me back when I was just... You forgive my French, when I was just shitloading and making jokes and telling dark humor jokes and starting fights with people on the internet. And then people decided that they liked my stories and kept asking me to do more, and so I decided if people were going to be, watching me with their families tell stories, then I don't want to set a bad example for other people's kids, because people were messaging me, they're like, hey, I watch this with my kids, or I watch this with my students in my classroom. Could you swear less? And I thought my audience was all adults. So when I found out that people were watching me with their kids, I was like, well, I'm not going to just stop being who I am, but also I'm not going to... I don't want to like teach other people's children bad habits. So I cut a lot of the dark humor and the more vulgar humor out, because it's not necessary. I just did it because I was just doing it for fun. And then the more I told stories, the more people wanted them, and it's baffled me. It's absolutely blown me away. Richard, hello, my friend. Good to see you. Castle, I often get asked if I sell wildlife photos, and the truth is I don't. Simply do it for the love of photography and the joy of capturing the beauty of nature. Yeah, and it's really why it's strange to me, because I've always loved storytelling, and the demand for it, especially classical storytelling, I've discovered it to be very high, because there just aren't many classical storytellers left in the world. I've been in the tavern for I think you're coming up on 3 years now, Matty. Definitely more than 2. I think the tavern trapped me somewhat over 2 years ago before I let myself be known. I believe that because I think your first comment on one of my One of my videos was over 2 years ago, Bear. I think that it was a bit of a ways. Like-minded people are difficult to find too, at least in my opinion. I think that that's true. I think that the bigger portion of it's not necessarily difficult to find like-minded people. It's difficult to get through the biases of people to understand that we are like-minded. I think the way that the tavern has evolved is just beautiful. I appreciate you, Pistol. I do too. Do you know the Count? You're both amazing. I do not know the Count. I'm always willing to give him a look, though. It's probably about that, Bear, because I think that you got here after we stopped doing the lore streams, and as we had done the reading. Pistol, if you send it to me, I'll look him up. Because I definitely won't remember. But send it to me in a message, I'll look him up. Bears, thank you for the heart me over on TikTok. Tips to the Tavern Keeper, always appreciated. Jalen, hello and welcome in over on Twitch. Good to see you. Jalen, I presume from the YouTube portal from Tuesday. So very glad that you could join us. Castle, before I even stepped foot into the Scotty Tavern, I found myself ensnared in a different room, tangled up in a portal. It was Elsie who managed to pull me from that bizarre world, and now here we are, nestled in the warm ambience of this inviting tavern. What an incredible journey it's been. It's a beautiful story to tell, that. If you're good at something, never do it for free. Yep, Jalen is coming over from the YouTube portal from Tuesday. I don't have to fight YouTube in regards to my name. There you go. One of your short videos was put up by a dear friend, and I thought, this bloke's worth a look. Well, I'm glad you thought so, Bear, because it's been a beautiful friendship. We're this close to stroking beards together. Just rubbing them together in beard man. For any of you who don't know, bearded men, when we greet each other, we rub beards together. That's just, it's the culture. Having a good day, I have my friend over at my house. Well, good, Joker, good. It's important to spend time with family and friends and to just take whatever time you can to have some reprieve. The lady and I never take any time off because we love what we do. My first discovery of the tavern was a readathon of Lord of the Rings. I almost jumped out of my seat immediately. So we are doing another readathon, by the way, friends. We're almost done with Harry Potter Book 7. And we're almost done with The Darkness at Sethanon. Look at that. We're going to be done with this before the end of the month. We are almost completely through this book. And we're halfway through Harry Potter. So we're not going to vote on any more books until after we finish these two. And then we're going to take a week where we just do, like, waffle story times. And then after that week, we're going to do the readathon. And during the readathon, I'm going to give away some books. We'll give away some of my festivals books. We'll give away some of the books that we read. I was even thinking about giving away a full set of the Rift War Saga by Raymond E. Feist. Because so many of you said you liked it, but you're like, I don't want to buy a whole set. And if you guys want any of the books that we give away during the readathon, if we are shipping them ourselves, the lady and I can sign them if you guys want. Starcrossed, I stumbled upon this channel a few days ago. Is it just etymology and folklore? Starcrossed, hello and welcome in. No, it is not. So, my name is Castle, this is my tavern, and here we talk about myth and lore and tales of yore. And every now and again I read you a story. That's what we're doing tonight. Tuesdays and Thursdays we have a live story time where I read to all of you. We talk about myth and history and folklore, but the center of what the tavern is about is the art of storytelling. I talk about everything that has to do with the art of storytelling, and that'll be historical, that'll be mythological, that'll be folklore, that'll be fairy tales, that'll be fiction, that'll be books, that'll be writing. I talk about all of these things. Blue Wyvern, thank you for the follow over on TikTok. You've marked us on your map. Should be able to find your way back the next time you seek a story. Johnny tagged me in one of your videos, and that's where it all began. Did it really, Esther? That's fascinating. Well-oiled beards, of course. They have to be well-oiled. You have to have lubrication. And you have to lubricate the meeting. I survived my first week of the new semester. Congratulations. That's a hell of an achievement. Since I'm new here, if I were to sit in this tavern you keep talking about. What do I see? What do I hear? What prominent smells reach my nostrils? I'm curious. So the first thing that you'll note is that there's a fire that smells both old and new. The flames seem like they've been going for quite some time, but they also feel like a breath of spring, like a pine fire outdoors at the start of summer. You also smell the distinct aroma of polished wood and fresh hops wafting about. You'll note finely crafted wooden furniture all about that also seems simultaneously old and new. And from the back kitchen, you smell. It's definitely food, but you can't quite pin what kind of food. It could be fresh baked pie. It could be well roasted meats. It could be stewed potatoes. You can't really tell. All you know is that it smells, and it makes you feel nostalgic. It reminds you of your mother's kitchen. It reminds you of when your grandmother would bake you fresh goods. And what you notice more than anything about is that as you look around, everyone in the tavern is smiling for some reason. That's what you see when you're in the tavern. Blue Wyvern, thank you for your awesome and the rose over on TikTok. And Kayla, hello, it's good to see you, love. Thank you for the rose and the heartbeat. Tips to the tavern keeper are always appreciated. Yes, we are going to be reading through chapter 20. Alexander, I'm not quite sure what you're asking, but we're going to be reading, we're on chapter 20 of Harry Potter, book 7. That's what we're going to start here soon. Friends over on Twitch, we're going to run ads here real quick so that you get an hour without them, and then once those ads are done, we're going to start the reading. If you have Twitch Turbo or whatever it is, or a sub, it won't make you watch them, but if you're willing to sit through, it'll be 3 minutes, and then you'll get an hour without them. Twitch makes us run them, but we'll be right back, friends. Right back. Esther, you said your voice had a magnetic allure, weaving a tapestry of stories that pulled me deep into the heart of your world. Each tale you told was a thread that bound us together, drawing me irresistibly into the realms you created. That is a high compliment, Esther. I appreciate you for that. Thank you kindly. Well, Ivan, you said, thank you for saying my name correctly. I do my best. I'm pretty good with names. I'm not perfect, but I'm pretty good with names. I think I missed hearing that one. Which one? Oh, the Darkness at Sethanon pistol you didn't get to be in for. All of them are still up over on the YouTube portal if you want to watch them. You could go all the way back to the beginning and watch them all the way through. That'd be about a week's worth of your time, but that's what it would be. I promise you will all love the tavern. If you're intrigued, then you probably need a seat. I was welcomed beautifully. Sarah, it's good to see you. Welcome in. So very glad that you could join us tonight. I had to reorder chapters in book 3. Now it flows much better. See, there you go. Barry, I dare you to pronounce my full name, Castle. I dare you. What is Barry's full name again? Remind me. Put it in the chat, and I'll do my best with it. I survived this day to 2026, and I am so happy. It's a beautiful. Oh, who's got a birthday? Somebody had a birthday coming up. Whose birthday is coming up? Somebody's birthday is approaching. I don't think it's here yet. What is that, Bernice Mentaka? Yukino, hello and welcome in. So very glad that you can join us. We're about to start story time. So settle in, grab your seat. Silly Capricorns, right. I just have unbirthdays right now. I have not celebrated my birthday in ages. Now, the lady will often force some sort of celebration because obviously she's happy that I'm here. But I haven't actively celebrated my birthday in, over 20 years. I think the last big birthday that I had was when I was 18 years old, and that was because a friend of mine very much wanted to throw one. Other than that, he's waffling first. Indeed, I am. Scooby's was in 12 days. That's what I was thinking. Scooby had mentioned his birthday was coming up, and he mentioned it about 5 days ago. So That's probably the one that I was thinking of. Berry is Bereniki. Bereniki. That sounds Hawaiian. Bereniki. That's interesting. Mark it on the table. I also agree with the previous comment. Your voice is fantastical. I also survived the first week. It's my dad's birthday tomorrow, celebrating a milestone. Very good, Jessica. Give your father all of the love from the tavern. And if you find an appropriate moment, you can also give him a kiss from us. Or have your mother give him a kiss from us. Castle, have you read The Princess and the Goblin? No, I have not. I'm in April, long way away. I want to get everything taken care of before it gets here, and which is fair enough, Yukino. Now, if you... Can we stop starting the years by going to war? I'm sure humanity has been wishing that for far longer than any of us have been here or will be here, Kayla. It's human nature to fight. All we can do is hope that it ends quickly and most of us will be all right. And pray for those that are lost and hope that it all goes as well as it can. You can't stop humans from fighting and bickering, sadly. It's what we're made for. And Sarah says, happy birthday to your father, Jessica. And for anyone who is confused, we have the portals open on multiple platforms. So you can enter the tavern through TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, or Kick. Whichever strikes your fancy. Mine is something this year upcoming, but it's just another day. Since you can't hear me or you, I married a silly old goat. Well, yeah, Bear's lovely lady. She just had a birthday. I'm being told that we have some kind of celebration for my birthday this year. I don't see why not. Yep, Task Life. Thank you for the heart meal. Tips to the tavern keeper, always appreciated, my friend. Yeah, and that's really the best that we can do, Milu. Hope that more fighting doesn't start, and that whatever's fighting is going on, What did they mean by that? So confused. By what in particular, Yukino? All I want for my birthday is to go to a Mexican bakery. You know what's funny is that every year on the lady's birthday, I go to either the Japanese bakery or the local bakery, and the boy and I get her all kinds of pastries, and then she has a pastry party in bed, because what she loves to do is nap, eat pastries, and drink coffee. So she gets a book, she gets in bed, and then she gets to snack on pastries and enjoy her coffee and so on. Somebody else, did I miss somebody else who followed over on... No, it was Blue Wyvern, alright. Remember someone's birthday here at the tavern? I can barely remember my own. Happy birthday to your father. Yes, okay, yeah. Okay, that sounds amazing. I can enjoy doing that. Yeah, I try, because Una's not a morning person, not even a little bit. I need a birthday like Una, but with line dancing in the afternoon. She would be so upset if I forced her to socialize on her birthday. Oh, she just does not enjoy it. I don't live close to one now, but it's not expensive at all. Yeah, and I think that when you are in a relationship, if the focus is ever on the quantity or the expense of the time, because I know a lot of people who aren't excited unless a lot of money is being spent on them. If that is you or you're with somebody like that, that's a very unhealthy dynamic because it's not sustainable for a long time. You need to... You don't have to necessarily shame somebody who likes expensive things, but it's not sustainable to have that to be happy. Sounds like a perfect woman and birthday to me. I can't lie. I don't believe in perfect, but if I did, she'd be as close as you could possibly get. Exactly. I think that pastries are sort of the universal language of women, in my experience, anyways. I have not yet met a woman who did not enjoy, to some degree, pastries and nice drinks. We'll say socializing refills my cup if it's the right people of it. I suppose that's true. I suppose that's true. She likes socializing with me, which is nice. That we've been together for almost 6 years. She's not tired of me yet. Uh, I'm not exactly counting down the days to my birthday. It just feels like a reminder that I'm another year older, like I've turned into an old fossil. Well, I think I've always looked at it because my grandfather is over 100 years old and he gets up, goes to work every day still. He still takes care of my grandmother and all of the above things. And in my mind, it's kind of a privilege to grow up to be a fossil, you know? I'm not much of a cake person by any means, but an excellent French pastry I'd be all about. And I'm not a cake person either, and the lady isn't either. We don't like really bready or super sweet things, but like a nice pastry is good, or even even just a simple donut. A well-made donut is a pleasure to have. The artisan sans gluten in Toronto and coffee sounds like a fabulous thing. It sounds very French. I suppose it could be nice. I can't believe I'm on time for once. Usually I'm late or not at all for story time. Well, Yukino, I'm glad that you made it in. Let me get started reading. I'm sorry, I've been just waffling about here. Uh, I prefer munchies. My spouse likes sweet stuff. I'm the chips. Well, we're a sort of a snack family too. Like our snack section of our pantry is bigger than the food section of our refrigerator. So we are snacky as well. And she loves her like she loves sweet and savory, like she loves cheese and crackers and chips. The lady is a snacker. She calls herself a grazer. Um, but pastries are her penultimate love. I like jelly donuts. I love jelly donuts. I can't eat them anymore because they hurt my teeth, but I do love jelly donuts. Well, damn, now I'm just hungry. Waffling about sweet pastries, right? King of waffles. I always have been. Always have been. Mary Beth, it's good to see you. Welcome in. Your grandfather is still around sharing his stories and wisdom. As far as I know, he was hospitalized a little while back, but to the best of my knowledge, yeah, he's over 100 years old and still kicking, being a pain in everybody's butt. But yeah, he's very active for his age. Try thinking of it this way: anyone that is older than 25 years is an antique. That's true for us. That's true. I hear donuts. I picture a hut. Thanks, Una. I bought Rabbits a couple of enamel mugs from an OP shop to help her propagate plants. Neither of us wants money spent on useless trinkets that mean nothing. Yeah, that's the other thing is that we're both dreadfully practical. So any sort of pointless, like we don't buy each other pointless things. Um, for Christmas, like her and the boy got new cell phones because they needed them, and I got her a controller, and she got me books for Christmas. So we're dreadfully practical in all the things that we do. Uh, I don't have good snacks. We may need to change subject. All right. Yeah, we should get into reading. We should get into reading. I make Gray's plate sections of different little things. The lady loves to do that too, Pistol. That is her go-to. Johnny has an undeniable passion for his pastry chips. Each crunchy little bite is a piece of heaven. As for me, can't resist the allure of dark chocolate. I love me some dark chocolate, especially when paired with some delightful pastries. It's a match made in pastry paradise. Agreed. Nope, Erin, not quite an antique yet. Go, Grandad, go. Yeah, he's still kicking about. I'm a big back person. Don't the snack lover. You know. Helltown, hello, my friend. Good to see you. Keeper, good day to you. Good day to you as well. Don't make me feel old. I'm ancient, not antique. Wait, don't quote that. I was just trying to be a pest. Please talk about it. No, you're all right, Milo. We should get to reading. Yeah, I've been waffling with you guys for over 45 minutes. Op shop, not OP shop. Oh, I see. Sort of. Okay. I see what you're saying, Bear. I see what you're saying. Okay, so can you believe it? I have a total of 5 phones. My oldest one is a whopping 10 years old. It's hard to imagine how far technology can come since then. Yeah, if we didn't do most of our work on our phones, the lady and I probably wouldn't even have them. But unfortunately, most of our work is on the phone, so we have to. Kayla, thank you for the hard puff. I love fruit and cheese together. I personally do not like fruit and cheese together, but the lady does. She loves it. Many blessings, many blessings to your dad. Yes, indeed. I read once that dark chocolate will help with clarity of thought. There are a lot of really good beneficial things in cacao. Cacao is very good for you in moderation. So if you do like a very high flavanol, high cacao percentage cacao or cocoa, it's very good for you. So many tea flavors, so many choices. We try to keep it simple. We have a few breakfast teas, we have green tea, and then we have chai tea, which is just tea, but it's a chai blend tea. Cheese goods with almost anything. I will eat cheese with almost anything. The right apples with the right cheese is great. Other fruit and cheese combo, I'm picky. Says Milu, one of the advocates for pizza and pineapple, which is the worst combination of cheese and fruit. I stand on chai tea and Thai chai. That's a good one, Bear. I was with you till the word moderation. Look, all things have to be done in moderation. And indulging in dark chocolate isn't just a delicious treat, it's also packed with health benefits. This rich decadent delight is known to be quite good for you, offering a variety of positive effects that can elevate your mood and enhance your well-being, so go ahead and savor the satisfying bite and enjoy all the goodness it brings. Did Molly, hello, love, good to see you. Harry just graduated. He's about to. His first child's on the way. I love chai and black tea. Earl Grey is my favorite. The lady loves dark teas and she loves very dark coffees. Bonus if there are candied pecans. Candied pecans are very good as well. Pistol says pineapple belongs on pizza. Look, I disagree with you, and Gordon Ramsay disagrees with you. Most five-star chefs. You can have your opinion, but it's a wrong opinion. I'm just messing with you all. You can like it. You can like it. I'm teasing. Uh, Tart apples with crumbly Irish cheese. Interesting. Can't say I've ever tried. No touching. Mets Games, how's it going, my friend? All right. I think it's time we get into stories. What do you think, friends? I think I have talked all of your ears off quite enough. I think it's time that we get into our main event for the evening. Everyone, grab your seat, settle in, kick back, fill your tankards, fill your mugs. It is time for Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Pretty close, Ace. I enjoy sipping on a warm cup of Rubio's, the delightful caffeine-free tea from Africa. It's a rich flavor, soothing qualities. Quite a few people have said they like Rubio's. I don't think I've ever had it. I'm not much of a tea person. I'll have a dark tea every now and again, but I'm not much of a tea drinker. Uh, Sorry, I'm with you. No pineapple on pizza. And it's one of those things. Pineapple on pizza is one of those things where like 1/3 of people are like they really, really want pineapple on pizza. 1/3 of people are like really against it, and the other third of people just want the other 2/3 to shut up. Like the people in the middle just want the rest of us to shut up about it. Oh, Slash your bets. It's good to see you, my friend. It's a crime. I agree with you. Uh, let's see. I have to replace my battery. It's pregnant once I get it back in business. I'll do all my work and art on that. I can't wait. For a laptop or something, Yukino? I would assume so. I like cilantro on certain things. I don't like just fresh cilantro on really anything, except for maybe like a taco with a really strong meat flavor. I think that's very good. Is that Mr. Mad Mick, as they say, Mr. Michael J. Reynolds? How goes it, my friend? Nice plated whiskey is what'll do for me. Well, there we go. Oh, your phone. Yes, 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 yes. So real quick, just again, I want everybody to know, Vets, thank you for the donut, my friend. Tips to the tavern keeper, always appreciated. We were just talking about donuts as well. There are several portals through which you can join. I'm not a lunatic, just talking to myself. If you are on the TikTok portal, all you see is the TikTok events and chats. If you go to any of the other ones, you will see on screen over here a combined chat of everyone who is watching. The most active of all of the portals is Twitch. If you want to be involved heavily in the conversation, Twitch is the place to be. But you can enter wherever you're comfortable. We are on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Kick. You can enter through any of the portals that you like. That being said, if you are on the YouTube portal or the Facebook portal, for some reason, you guys are about 60 seconds to 2 minutes behind everybody else. So if I take a while to respond or it seems like there's a big gap, that is why. Just want everybody to know so you're all properly informed. I leave in April for my trip. Where were you headed, Vets? Refresh my memory. I do remember you talking about a trip. I don't remember to where. Are you going to Scandinavia? Or are you going to Ireland? Ireland. Right. Okay. Because there's another tavern folk, another patron who is going to Sweden and then to Norway this year at some point. And I forgot who's who. So Ireland and Scotland, and you're spending. You said what, 1 or 2 weeks out there? Yes, a little bit longer. It won't let me say Peter. What's going on? Mad Mick has entered the building. Ah, right. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. All right. Neil Bruce says hello from New Zealand. Hey, we've got another Kiwi in the house. Hello, my friend. It's good to have you. Can't change my username for 2 months, so by then I'll be even madder. There's truth in that. Truth in that. Milu has informed me to say pineapple pizza is a god and that Matty is her hostage for saying otherwise in the past. Pineapple on pizza is life. The chair is god. Ah, I see. You guys are something else. You're going for months? I thought that it was 2 or 4 weeks. But months is that's what you need if you're going to travel somewhere to really go look at things. To look at the twat they done and says, "Oh, that's right. You wanted me to send you." I remember now. I remember. I need to send those to you. Thank you for reminding me. The end of the year was so hectic for me that I forgot. I need to respond to your message and send you the sites that I know of and that my family keeps. Thank you for reminding me, Fitz. I appreciate you. That's all right, Milo. You're always a little bit goofy. I'm not going to lie to you. You're always a little bit goofy, but we love you for it, so it's okay. If you ever get bored of the pineapple on pizza controversy, I suggest kiwi on pizza. Oh, good lord. All right, let's read before we have further into this conversation. What did Hellhound say that I missed? Seated with horn in hand. You guys. So they know. Ishanta, hello. I was just about to put my head down. You did that just at the right time. Thank you for the 50 stars over on the Facebook portal. Tips to the Tavern Keeper, always appreciated. It's good to see you. Welcome in. All right, let's go. Harry Potter in the Deathly Hallows, Chapter 20. Xenophilius Lovegood. Harry had not expected Hermione's anger to abate overnight, and was therefore unsurprised that she communicated mainly by dirty looks and pointed silences the next morning. Ron responded by maintaining an unnaturally somber demeanor in her presence as an outward sign of continuing remorse. In fact, when all three of them were together, Harry felt like the only non-mourner at a poorly attended funeral. Together, Harry felt. Oh, during those few moments he spent alone, with Harry, however, collecting water and searching undergrowth for mushrooms, Ron became shamelessly cheery. Someone helped us, he kept saying. Someone sent that dough. Someone's on our side. One Horcrux down, mate. Bolstered by the destruction of the locket, they set to debating the possible locations of the other Horcruxes. And even though they had discussed the matter so often before, Harry felt optimistic, certain that more breakthroughs would succeed the first. Hermione's sulkiness could not mar his buoyant spirit. Upswing in their fortunes, the appearance of the mysterious doe, the recovery of Gryffindor's sword, and all above, Ron's return made Harry so happy that it was quite difficult to maintain a straight face. Late in the afternoon, he and Ron escaped Hermione's baleful presence again, and under the pretense of scouring the bared hedges for non-existent blackberries, they continued their ongoing exchange of news. Harry had finally managed to tell Ron the whole story of his and Hermione's various wanderings right up to the full story of what happened at Godric's Hollow. Ron was now filling Harry in on everything he'd discovered about the wider wizarding world during his weeks away. And how did you find out about the taboo? He asked Harry after explaining the many desperate attempts of Muggleborns to evade the Ministry. The what? You and Hermione have stopped saying you know whose name. Oh, yeah, well, it's just a bad habit we've slipped into, said Harry. But I haven't got a problem calling him No! Roared Ron, causing him to jump into the hedge, and Hermione, nose buried in a book at the tent entrance, to scowl over them. Sorry, said Ron, wrenching Harry back out of the brambles. But the name's been jinxed, Harry. That's how they track people. Using his name breaks protective enchantments. It causes some kind of magical disturbance. It's how they found the Tottenham Court Road. Because we used his name. Exactly. You got to give him credit. It makes sense. It was only people who were serious about standing up to him like Dumbledore who ever dared use it. Now they put a taboo on it. Anyone who says it is trackable. Quick and easy way to find Order members. They nearly got Kingsley. You're kidding. Yeah, a bunch of Death Eaters cornered him, Bill said. But he fought his way out. He's on the run now, just like us. Ron scratched his chin thoughtfully with the end of his wand. You don't reckon Kingsley could have sent that, though? No, his Patronus is a lynx. We saw it at the wedding, remember? Oh, yeah. They moved farther along the hedge, away from the tent and Hermione. Harry, you don't reckon it could have been Dumbledore? Dumbledore what? Ron looked a little embarrassed, but said in a low voice. Dumbledore, the doe, I mean. Ron was watching Harry out of the corners of his eyes. He had the real sword last, didn't he? Harry did not laugh at Ron, because he understood too well the longing behind the question. The idea that Dumbledore had managed to come back to them, that he was watching over them, would have been inexpressibly comforting. He shook his head. Dumbledore's dead, he said. I saw it happen. I saw the body. He's definitely gone. And anyway, his Patronus was a phoenix, not a doe. Patronuses can change, though, can't they? Said Ron. Tonks has changed, didn't it? Yeah, but if Dumbledore was alive, why wouldn't he show himself? Why wouldn't he just hand us the sword? Search me, said Ron. Same reason he didn't give it to you while he was alive. Same reason he left an old snitch and Hermione a book of kids' stories. Which is what? Said Harry, turning to look at Ron, full in the face, desperate for the answer. I don't know, said Ron. Sometimes I thought when I've been a bit hacked off, he was having a laugh or he was just wanting to make it more difficult. But I don't think so, not anymore. He knew what he was doing when he gave me the Deluminator, didn't he? He will. Ron's ears turned bright red, and he became engrossed in a tuft of grass at his feet, which he prodded with his toe. He must have known I'd run out on you. No, Harry corrected him. He must have known you'd always want to come back. Ron looked grateful, but still awkward. Partly to change the subject, Harry said, Speaking of Dumbledore, have you heard what Skeeter wrote about him? Oh, yeah, said Ron at once. People are talking about it quite a lot. Of course, if things were different, it'd be huge news, Dumbledore being pals with Grindelwald. But now it's just sort of something to laugh about for people who didn't like Dumbledore, and a bit of a slap in the face for everyone who thought he was such a good bloke. I don't know that it's such a big deal, though. He was really young when they... Our age, said Harry, just as he had retorted to Hermione, and something on his face seemed to decide Ron against pursuing the subject. A large spider sat in the middle of a frosted web in the brambles. Harry took aim at it with the wand that Ron had given him the previous night, which Hermione had since condescended to examine, and had decided it was made of blackthorn. Engorgio. The spider gave a little shiver, bouncing slightly in the web. Harry tried again. This time the spider grew slightly larger. Stop that, said Ron sharply. I'm sorry I said Dumbledore was young, okay? Harry had forgotten Ron's hatred of spiders. Sorry, Reducio. The spider did not shrink. Harry looked down at the blackthorn wand. Every minor spell he had cast with it so far that day had seemed less powerful than those he had produced with his phoenix wand. The new one felt intrusively unfamiliar, like having someone else's hand sewn to the end of your arm. You just need to practice, said Hermione, who had approached them noiselessly from behind and had stood watching anxiously as Harry tried to enlarge and reduce the spider. It's all a matter of confidence, Harry. He knew why she wanted it to be all right. She still felt guilty about the breaking of his wand. He bit back the retort that sprang to his lips, that she could take the blackthorn wand if she thought it made no difference, and he would have hers instead. Keen for them all to be friends again, however, he agreed, but when Ron gave Hermione a tentative smile, she stalked off and vanished behind her book once more. Kova, hello my friend, good to see you, welcome in. It is dangerous to eat any fruit on a pizza, even though tomatoes required in the sauce. Good luck. I can take or leave pineapple on pizza, but kiwi, hell no. See, that's what I was saying earlier, Richard, is that if you can see me, I forgot your name. Yeah, I can see you. I can see you, Stalker Rost. I've heard, well, dessert pizza is a little bit different because it's not like the typical combination of pizza. But, Starcross, do you have a different name that you prefer? If you do, just let me know. Johnny Boy, Beatbox, hello, hello. No kiwi, no sir, right? Charisma is being able to market it as a so-so. Well, that's fair enough. Knowledge is knowing tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing it doesn't go on a fruit salad. It's true. How you doing, John? Good to see you, brother. Welcome in. Alright. I'm going to take a sip of water real quick. Tyson, made it home safely. Love you too, brother. It's good to see you. Hope you've been doing well. Now, Starcrossed, do you prefer to be called Lucy or Starcrossed? I'm fine either way. Fruit salad, fruit salsa, pineapple salsa. Pineapple salsa can be okay if it's not too overwhelming. I don't know about kiwi on pizza, but sauerkraut on a hot dog is fantastic. Sauerkraut, I like a small amount of sauerkraut on a hot dog. I don't like a lot. Sauerkraut is a bit overwhelming. But where's the Viking pizza? That's a very... I don't even know what would be on a Viking pizza. Veal, maybe? Veal? Fermented shark? Fermented shark on pizza sounds terrible. Lucy. All right, excellent. Then you shall be called Lucy. If I forget at any point, I will ask again, but I will do my best to remember. I try. All right, let's get back into the story, friends. All three of them returned to the tent when darkness fell, and Harry took first watch. Sitting in the entrance, he tried to make the blackthorn wand levitate small stones at his feet, but his magic still seemed clumsier and less powerful than it had done before. Hermione was lying on her bunk reading, while Ron, after many nervous glances up at her, had taken a small wooden wireless out of his rucksack and started to try to tune it. There's one program, he told Harry in a low voice, that tells news like it really is. All the others are on you-know-whose side and are following the ministry line. But this one, you wait till you hear it, it's great. Only they can't do it every night because they keep changing locations in case they're raided. And you need a password to tune in. Trouble is, I missed the last one. He drummed lightly on the top of the radio with his wand, muttering random words under his breath. He threw Hermione many covert glances, plainly fearing an angry outburst, but for all the notice she took of him, he might not have even been there. For 10 minutes or so, Ron tapped and muttered, and Hermione turned pages of her book, and Harry continued to practice with the blackthorn wand. Finally, Hermione climbed down from her bunk. Ron ceased his tapping at once. If it's annoying you, I'll stop, he told Hermione nervously. Hermione did not deign to respond, but approached Harry. We need to talk, she said. She looked at the book still clutched in her hand, and it was The Life and Lies of Albus Dumbledore. What? He said apprehensively. It flew through his mind that there was a chapter on him in there. He was not sure he felt up to hearing Rita's version of his relationship with Dumbledore. Hermione's answer, however, was completely unexpected. I want to go and see Xenophilius Lovegood. He stared at her. Sorry? Xenophilius Lovegood, Luna's father. I want to go and talk to him. Why? She took a deep breath, as though bracing herself, and said, It's that mark. The mark of Beetle the Bard. Look at this. She thrust The Life and Lies of Albus Dumbledore under Harry's unwilling eyes, and saw a photograph of the original letter that Dumbledore had written to Grindelwald. With Dumbledore's familiar, thin, slanting handwriting, he hated seeing absolute proof that Dumbledore had really written those words, and that they had not been Rita's invention. The signature, said Hermione. Look at the signature, Harry. He obeyed. For a moment he had no idea what she was talking about, but looking more closely, with the aid of his lit wand, he saw that Dumbledore had replaced the A of Albus with a tiny version of the triangular mark inscribed upon the tails of Beetle the Bard. What are you? Said Ron tentatively, but Hermione quelled him with a look and turned back to Harry. It keeps cropping up, doesn't it? She said. I know Victor said it was Grindelwald's mark, but it was definitely on that old grave in Godric's Hollow, and the dates on the headstone were long before Grindelwald came along. And now this. Well, we can't ask Dumbledore or Grindelwald what it means, and I don't even know whether Grindelwald's still alive. But we can ask Mr. Lovegood. He was wearing the symbol at the wedding. I'm sure this is more important, Harry. Harry did not answer immediately. He looked into her intense, eager face, and then out into the surrounding darkness, thinking. After a long pause, he said, Hermione, we don't need another Godric's Hollow. We talked ourselves into going there and... But it keeps appearing, Harry. Dumbledore left me the tales of Beetle the Bard. How do you know we're not supposed to go and find out about the sign? Here we go again. Harry felt slightly exasperated. We keep trying to convince ourselves that Dumbledore left us secret signs and clues. The Deluminator turned out to be pretty useful, piped up Ron. I think Hermione's right. I think we ought to go and see Lovegood. Harry threw him a dark look, and he was quite unsure that Ron's support of Hermione had little to do with his desire to know the meaning of the triangular rune. It won't be like Godric's Hollow, Ron added. Lovegood's on our side, Harry. The Quibbler's been for you all along. He keeps telling everyone they've got to help you. I'm sure this is important, said Hermione earnestly. But don't you think if it was, Dumbledore would have told me about it before he died? Maybe. Maybe it's something you need to find out for yourself, said Hermione with a faint air of clutching at straws. Yeah, said Ron sycophantically. That makes sense. No, it doesn't, snapped Hermione. But I still think we ought to talk to Mr. Lovegood. A symbol that links Dumbledore, Grindelwald, and Godric's Hollow. Harry, I'm sure we ought to know about those. It's so funny. She's so mad at him that she's even getting mad at him when he agrees with her. That's how you know you've made your lady mad. When she gets mad at you for agreeing with her, that's when you know you've done wrong. Hey brother, I'm doing pretty good. Very great to see you. Just a quick checking in on your stream. I saw you last, was checking out. I appreciate you, but I try to look whenever you're on. And it's good to see you. What you put on your pizza is like rolling a D20 with life. Good luck. You're gonna need it, both with your stomach and the social atmosphere. It's true enough, Ace. True enough. That's almost like a very bad joke, but being good as well. Right. I used to have a job crushing cans in a soft drink factory, but I had to give it away. It was so depressing. Excellently done, Kova. Excellently done. I'm sorry I'm so late. Hello to all. It's alright, Ashley. I hope that you and Mateus are doing well. So very good to see you. And let's give a quick glass raise to all of our barkeeps who keep us all safe and sound while we're on and about. It's always great to hear you and see you and talk to you as well. I'll give you a call as soon if you're okay with... Yeah, absolutely, John. We need to catch up. The lady and I were so busy at the end of last year, I virtually talked to no one all of last year. Yeah, the barkeeps keep everyone safe and sound. Esther, thank you for the bits. I appreciate you. Tips to the tavern keeper always appreciated. Thank you. Appreciate you for the horse head combos over on Twitch. Your tips are always appreciated, Esther. Thank you kindly. Yes, we're doing well. He threw his back out on Tuesday, but is on the mend, thanks love. Make sure he does plenty of light stretching, heat and ice, and make sure that he treats himself well. Out of battery, send me the sites. Out of battery, send me the sites. Oh, Vets, I didn't even see that. Thank you kindly for the lightning bolts. And Lake Lady, thank you for the heart me. Thank you both. Tips to the tavern keeper, always appreciated. Thank you, Vets. I appreciate you, my friend. And Lake Lady, thank you as well. Johnny boy, thank you for 13 months. Enjoy your meringue wisps there. We've only got a few more weeks of the seasonal fair before they're gone. Lake Lady, thank you for the high bet as well. Tips to the Tavern Keeper, always appreciated. Don't forget to send me some gifts. I will send you the gift of storytelling. That's all I've got on me at the moment. I appreciate you, Johnny Boy. Appreciate you very much. Thank you, brother. All right, head back down. I'll pop back up in a minute. We're gonna need to run ads here in a minute. Let's see if I can get that chapter done before we head out. Hang on. Oh, we got 20 minutes. No, we're good. We'll be able to get it through. We'll be able to get through it before then. All right. I think we should vote on it, said Ron. Those in favour of going to see Lovegood. His hand flew into the air before Hermione's. Her lips quivered suspiciously, but she raised her own. Outvoted, sorry, Harry, said Ron, clapping him on the back. Fine, said Harry, half amused, half irritated. Only, once we've seen Lovegood, let's try and look for some more Horcruxes, shall we? Where do the Lovegoods live, anyway? Do either of you know? Yeah, they're not far from my place, said Ron. I don't know exactly where, but Mom and Dad always point towards the hills whenever they mention them, so it shouldn't be hard to find. They agreed to try to get back in her good books. All's fair in love and war, said Ron brightly. And this is a bit of both. Cheer up. It's a Christmas holiday. Luna will be home. They had an excellent view of the village of Ottery St. Catchpole from the breezy hillside, to which they disappeared next morning. From their high vantage point, the village looked like a collection of toy houses in the great slanting shafts of sunlight stretching to earth in the breaks between the clouds. They stood for a minute or two looking toward the burrow, their hands shadowing their eyes, but all they could make out were the high hedges and trees of the orchard, which afforded the crooked little house protection from Muggle eyes. It's weird, being this near and not going to visit, said Ron. Jaeger, hello, my friend. Welcome in, brother. Thank you kindly for 33 months in a row, you legend. Enjoy your meringue wisps. I took the time to subscribe, but those pesky ads. If you're subscribed, you shouldn't get any ads, Esther. The gift is huge. I'll accept the gift of storytelling any day. Well, thank you, Lady. I appreciate you. The shirts came in too, and we are in love. You have to send me pictures. Or if you tag me on Instagram, I will repost them to a story. You guys got a hype train going. Esther, thank you for the bits. I appreciate you. Thank you kindly. Tips to the Tavern Keeper are always appreciated. But at the very least, post pictures for me in the Discord. Over in the guild. I'd love to see everybody in their tavern wear. Alright, where was I? Well, it's not like you haven't just seen them. You were there for Christmas, said Hermione coldly. I wasn't at the burrow, said Ron with an incredulous laugh. Milo! Wow, you guys are just literally running a train on me, for however inappropriate that is. Thank you kindly for 14 months, love. Tips to the Tavern Keeper always appreciated. I don't know what else I can say. Jaeger, I hope you're doing well, my son. I just noticed the other day that you called me and I didn't see the missed call, so I'll try to give you a call this weekend when the lady and I are all finished up with work. Lewd, I know. You guys are all indecent. Thank you all for the hype train over on Twitch. It is appreciated. Thank you kindly, my friends. Alright, where were we? Do you think I was going to go back there and tell them I walked out on you? Fred and George would have been great about it, and Jenny, she'd have been real understanding. But where have you been then? Asked Hermione, surprised. Well, Bill and Flora's new place, Shell Cottage. Bill's always been decent to me. He wasn't impressed when we heard what I'd done, but he didn't go on about it. I knew He knew I was really sorry. None of the rest of the family know I was there. Bill told Mom he and Fleur weren't going home for Christmas because they wanted to spend it alone. You know, first holidays after they were married, and I don't think Fleur minded. You know how much she hates Celestina Warbeck. Ron turned his back on the burrow. Let's try up here, he said, leading the way up to the top of the hill. They walked for a few hours, Harry, at Hermione's insistence, hidden beneath the invisibility cloak. The cluster of low hills appeared to be uninhabited apart from one small cottage, which seemed deserted. Do you think it's theirs? And they've gone away for Christmas? Said Hermione, peering through the window at a neat little kitchen with geraniums on the windowsill, and Ron snorted. Listen, I've got a feeling you'd be able to tell who lived there if you looked through the Lovegood's window. Let's try the next lot of hills. And they separated a few miles farther north. Aha! Shouted Ron as the wind whipped their hair and clothes. Ron was pointing upward toward the top of the hill on which they had appeared, where a most strange-looking house rose vertically against the sky. A great black cylinder with a ghastly moon hanging behind it. In the afternoon sky. What is going on, you guys? Quirt, thank you for the bits, brother. Thank you kindly, my friend. Tips to the tavern keeper are appreciated, my friend. Armand Gandhi, hello. See trailer of Toxic. I have no idea what that means. And who gifted all of these subs? Good lord. What is going on? Jaeger, thank you for gifting 5 subs to the community, my friend. Mad Mick, Ace, Shadow Splinter, Visionon, and Jalen, enjoy your subs from Jaeger. Thank you kindly, my friend. It is appreciated. And thank you to Quirt for the 1,000 bits. I appreciate you, my friend. Chat's being spoiled tonight. Selfishly, I just want a better train on. You're not kidding, you guys got level 3 hype train over on Twitch. Thank you all for that. I appreciate you. People are getting hyper, it seems. So it seems. Yeah, thank you all for gifting to the tavern. Tips are always appreciated, my friends. Thank you kindly. You're all too kind. Esther is the train conductor tonight, so it seems. So it seems. And then Jaeger and Quirt were out here bringing up the caboose, as it were. They should have given you guys an emote for that. Let's see. Hype chest is on the way. All right, there you go. Let's see. That's got to be Luna's house. Who else would live in a place like that? It's like a giant rook. It's nothing like a bird, said Hermione, frowning at the tower. I was talking about a chess rook, said Ron. A castle to you. Ron's legs were the longest, and he reached the top of the hill first. When Harry and Hermione caught up with him, panting and clutching stitches in their sides, they found him grinning broadly. It's theirs, said Ron. Look. 3 hand-painted signs had been tacked to the broken-down gate. The first read, The Quibbler, Editor X Lovegood. The second, Pick your own mistletoe. And the third, Keep off the dribblum plums. The dirigible plums. What is that? Fascinating. I usually bring the meats, but the caboose is fine. Well, life would not be complete without Jaeger's meats. That's just the truth of it. Alright. Thank you, Jaeger and Esther and everyone who subscribed and things over on Twitch. Thank you kindly, my friends. Lost sound on YouTube. What? How dare YouTube do such a thing? I just swapped back to YouTube. My phone isn't linked to Twitch tonight. What, Tyson? I'm sorry to hear that, my friend. But I'm glad that you popped in. YouTube is looking fine for me, Tonks. I don't see any problems, so I don't know why that would be. Let's see, stream health, yeah. Viewer activity. As far as I can see, everything on YouTube is still fine. On my end. Ashley, thank you for the heart, me love. I appreciate it. You guys are being too generous tonight. Far too generous. Oh, there we go. You got yourselves a little dancing soldier for your choo-choo emote. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you guys. You're absolutely lovely. Thank you kindly, my friends. The gate creaked as they opened it. The zigzagging path leading to the front door was overgrown with a variety of odd plants, including a bush covered with orange radish-like fruit Luna sometimes wore as earrings. Harry thought he recognized a Snargloff and gave the wizened stump a wide berth. 2 aged crabapple trees, bent in the wind, stripped of leaves, but still heavy with berry-sized red fruits, and bushy crowns of white-beaded mistletoe, stood sentinel on either sides of the front door. A little owl with a slightly flattened hawk-like head peered down at them from one of the branches.
"You'd better take off your invisibility cloak, Harry," said Hermione. "It's you Mr. Lovegood wants to help, not us."
He did as she suggested, and handing her the cloak to stow in her beaded bag. She then rapped 3 times on the thick black door, which was studded with iron nails and bore a knocker shaped like an eagle. Barely 10 seconds passed, and then the door was flung open, and there stood Xenophilius Lovegood, barefoot and wearing what appeared to be a stained nightshirt. His long white candy-floss hair was dirty and unkempt. Xenophilius had been positively dapper at Bill and Flo's wedding by comparison.
"What? What is it? Who are you? What do you want?"
he cried in a high-pitched, querulous voice, looking first at Hermione, then at Ron, and finally at Harry, upon which his mouth fell open in a perfect, comical O.
Hello, Mr. Lovegood,"
said Harry, holding out his hand.
"I'm Harry Potter."
Xenophilius did not take Harry's hand, although the eye that was not pointing towards his nose slid straight to the scar on Harry's forehead.
"Would it be okay if we came in?" said Harry. "There's something we'd like to ask you." I'm not sure that would be advisable,"
whispered Xenophilius. He swallowed and cast a quick look around the garden.
"Rather a shock, my word. I'm afraid I don't really think I ought to."
"It won't take long," said Harry, slightly disappointed by this less than warm welcome.
Oh, all right. Come in, quickly.
They were barely over the threshold when Xenophilius slammed the door behind them. They were standing in the most peculiar kitchen Harry had ever seen. The room was perfectly circular, so that it felt like being inside of a giant pepper pot. Everything was curved to fit the walls, the stove, the sink, the cupboards, and all of it had been painted with flowers, insects, and birds in bright primary colors. Harry thought he recognized Luna's style. The effect in such an enclosed space was slightly overwhelming. In the middle of the floor, a wrought iron spiral staircase led to the upper levels. There was a great deal of clattering and banging coming from overhead. Harry wondered what Luna could be doing. I've got an evening work meeting to join, so keep having fun. All right, Ace. We'll see you in a bit. Yeah, it looked like TikTok had the sound cut out there for a second as well. Don't know what could be causing that. Ashley, thank you for the gamer cat. That's an interesting one. Appreciate you for that. Usually some elk. Welcome, my friend. Goblins, yeah. Goblins just tinkering with everything. Hang on. Let me let our friends over on YouTube know what they need to do. Because I'm not quite sure what caused the glitch. Tess, hello and welcome in. It's good to see you. Welcome. Oh, Richard, I did not see you. Good night, but good night, Richard. I appreciate you, my friend. It's so very good to have you in. And, oh, I didn't know that Facebook did this. Richard is on his 2nd anniversary as a follower of the tavern. Slanchagastuncha, love the code. Vinny, I'm so very glad that you enjoy. It's absolutely my pleasure to serve you all as your storyteller. I hear static, it's just me. Yeah, I'm not Again, everything on my side seems to be fine. Everything on my end is normal, so if any of you are experiencing a cutout, if you could, Jalen, I would appreciate that. If anybody could drop over and see if there's anything that is causing an issue, because it all seems to be fine on my end. I'm not seeing any issues over here. Loonshi, thank you for the follow over on Twitch. You've marked this on your map. You should be able to find your way back again the next time you seek a story. Satisfying clicky-clacky sounds on the keyboard. It's my clicky-clacky keyboard. When I first got it, I liked it, but now it's too loud. I get irritated with it after an hour or so of working. Okay, we'll take a quick break. We'll run ads on Twitch because Twitch is requiring us to run ads here for a second. Okay, so you can hear me. All right. Is anybody else getting static? Castle, where are you looking? Here is where you guys are, but I have two different things. No, not here. It's over on YouTube. YouTube is having an issue. Sounds fine on my end. I can't imagine doing longer stories or papers or yeah, and I do a lot of writing. Like I write close to 20,000 words a week between scripts and stories. So it's a bit of a deal. It is a trial writing on this thing, I'll tell you. Anything you find on my end? Okay. Alright, I just want to make sure it's not on my end. If it's a glitch that I can't do anything about, then it is what it is, but I just want to make sure that I'm not a problem. Because if it is something on my end, I want to make sure I fix it. Checking for static. Might be an issue with the person's sound or speaker. Okay, alright. Might be my headphones. Alright, I just want to make sure it's not coming from me. If it's from me, I want to try and fix it. So, alright, excellent. Thank you all for the help. I appreciate you. We're going to run ads real quick on Twitch. I think almost everybody on Twitch right now has a... Alright, excellent. Thank you, Milu. I appreciate you all for the help. Thank you, Jalen. Sounds good on TikTok. Okay. Alright, it's not on my end then. That's good to know. But I'll be back next time. I'm going to continue the stream. I love seeing you, and I'll contact you very soon. All right, Johnny boy. Thank you kindly for the resub, my friend. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and thank you for kicking in. I know it seems like it seems like it's a problem with Lucy's headphones. So that's quite all right. Thank you, Milo. I appreciate you. It's all good. Goes back to Twitch. Great. Fire Deck, thank you for the donut over on TikTok. Tips to the Tavern Keeper, always appreciated, my friend. Working next to tanks will do that to you. Yeah, tinnitus is terrible. We have quite a few veterans in here and who have hearing problems. I was never a veteran, but I did stand too close to things that were blowing up too often in my youth. So now my right ear is awful. Always, Johnny boy, always. I appreciate you, my friend. Okay, I might just in case, or just because I can, right? I would love to be able to get moderators over on Kick so we didn't have to be in emote-only mode over there. Because there's so many bots that come in over here, but it won't let me assign anybody as a barkeeper, which is unfortunate. I don't know how their system works. Yeah, the bot doesn't work on YouTube, and I've had a hard time getting it to work over there. I've returned. I survived, escaping YouTube. Well, welcome back, Jalen. We're glad you're unharmed. We're doing quite well, actually. We're doing quite well. The lady's a bit under the weather today, but that's because she's having a bit of a monthly downturn. But she's a little bit tired and lethargic, so she's been resting most of today. Uh, but all in all, we're doing well. The boy just got home yesterday, and we have a bunch of wonderful work and projects planned for this coming week that we're both very excited about. And just, yeah, overall, things are going very well. I can't imagine a better week. I've been next to the old bed, so I imagine that probably has caused some hearing loss, Mick. I mean, I've heard how boisterous he can get when he's on on the drink. Man can project. Sends love and tea. Thank you, Jalen. I appreciate you for that. Those days are long behind me now. Elsie and I are wholeheartedly sending our love to Una. Good night, Mary Beth. Rest well. I hope you rise tomorrow ready to face the day. Give her an extra squeeze from me. I'm glad to hear. Yeah, she's in there resting with her cookies and her coffee. So she's quite all right. Oh, this from you. I love that you guys are just doing a bunch of the chats, the emotes over on Kick. Kick has the best emotes. I'll say that. Their emotes are amazing. I love them. But yeah, we're all caught up on work, and we're on path to be ahead on work, which is wonderful. The only problem that we're having now is keeping up with comments, which I need to have a meeting with all of the barkeeps to talk about where we're going, because, good lord, it's going faster than I can keep up with. The only thing that I have to deal with is academia and deciphering philosophy articles. And that's both a joy and a pain. I love philosophy, but people who one of the hard things is because when I was in university, I studied linguistics and language and literature, primarily literature with a secondary in linguistics, and I had to take a few philosophy classes for some of my writing courses, and you get some people who take philosophy and they suddenly think they're very profound because they now know what a philosopher from 800 years ago said, or 2,000 years ago said, and it's very funny. It's very funny. Lucy, can you hear? And now your name says Lucy. Having your lady friends around brings out those irresistible chocolate cravings. It does tend to. People in glass houses should not be throwing it. True enough. My new Camry is a hybrid. It doesn't make much noise to the point I'm looking at getting Spotify, so I have music playing because of the tinnitus. Oh, I used to drive a Hyundai, and it was very quiet when it drove. That was one of those things. Now your name shows up as Lucy, which is interesting. But did your sound get fixed? I did just stutter, that's true. I stuttered university. Always have music playing in the house. I even though I have pretty bad tinnitus in my right ear, I have to have the quiet every now and again. I don't think the bot works anywhere except for Twitch, Milo. I'll be honest with you. I should set it up to work elsewhere, but I haven't. So, Castle, thank you for having me in. I hope to catch you all live in the future. Good Evo. Good night. Yep, Test Life. I'm just going to call you Yep. Good night, Yep. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. What are all your rings? So, most of them are replacements. This one was sent to me by my uncle. It is a storeworm. It is a wrapped Celtic knot of a Celtic sea dragon. This was one my mother got me as a replacement. So when we're growing up in my family, we gain what are called adornments. Adornments are given when we win contests during festivals, when we prove ourselves exceptional at something. We are given adornments for these things, and the only time that we wear necklaces or rings or anything of the like is when they are given to us because of one of these events. I earned a Thor's hammer when I was in my early teens for a strength contest. So this is a Mjolnir, but it was stolen. So they were stolen from my mother's house after I moved back to the US. Oh, it does work there. It says 865 days. That is wild. That is a long time. Almost 3 years over on Facebook. It's fascinating. I think my hearing is odd. Let me check. Yes, it is. So is it fixed or no, Lucy? I've always been curious about philosophy, but I've never really dived into it. Maybe I have to explore and learn more. I love philosophy. People tend to get a little bit haughty when they study philosophy, though. Back here again, I told you I love the stories. Yes, you do. This was another gift from an uncle. It's just it's an infinite wrapped ring with a tree of life on it, and it's got all of the elder Futhark and younger Futhark wrapped around the ridge. This was another gift from my mother to replace one of my adornments that went missing, and it is Skoll and Hati wrapped around each other with, again, the elder Futhark wrapped around them there. This is a Clara that was given to me by the lady, and it is a traditional Irish engagement ring. And this is a sea dragon ring that is made out of silver that was gifted to me by Mr. Yeager when he visited the lady and I last year. I mean, it is, but the static is constant because it's just me. I'm glad I can't hear buzzing because that's annoying AF. I'm sorry, Lucy. I wish I could do something to fix it. Look into Stoicism. If you're going to read philosophy, I would start with meditations. Meditations and the art of war are probably the two easiest entry points for philosophy. My philosophy class is called Power and Oppression. Sounds very très chic modern. Very cool things. Of course, Dick, of course. I also have a chain and hammer that I wear. The hammer is original. The chain is was a replacement chain. Because the hammer I still had, it was one I had kept with me. But the hammer was forged by my uncle. The chain was a replacement again that my mother got me before she passed away. I have The Art of War book. Yeah, The Art of War is a brilliant book. It does not just apply to warfare, it applies to human psychology and is spectacular. If you have never read The Art of War, the Tao Te Ching, or the Book of Five Rings, all of them are wonderful bits of human psychology and philosophy. And Meditations is a brilliant look into a mind of a man who was literally the most powerful and wealthy man in the world at one point, and how he spoke to himself. His Meditations was a private journal of Marcus Aurelius. So it was never meant to be read. It was something that he kept for himself, and it was published sometime after his death. So The Tao of Pooh is good read. I just finished reading The Tao of Pooh. It's not exceptionally well written, but it is a very fun read. It is a very fun read because it takes the Tao Te Ching and essentially it's a guy who is learning about the Tao Te Ching and then discussing it with the characters of Winnie the Pooh. And it's fascinating. It's very fascinating. I'm still trying to work on a Peter Pan-inspired book. Ooh, that's exciting. I've been really enjoying Carl Jung and his philosophy on individualism and his Red Book. Jung's work is good. It needs to be read with skepticism, but Jung's work is very good. Could you send me the author of... It said, which one, Jalen? Which one? I'm not smart enough for philosophy. Everybody is smart enough for philosophy, Hills. One of the biggest misconceptions is that philosophy is complex. Philosophy is not complex. It is not. Meditations. Oh, Meditations was written by Marcus Aurelius. Here, I'll put that in. Like, I'm gonna embarrass myself here because I don't remember how to spell Aurelius. What is going on? What is wrong with my fingers? Good lord. Did I get it? I did. Look at that, Matty picking me up there. Ryan Holiday is a wonderful interpreter of Stoic philosophy. He blew up on TikTok some like last year or something, and he writes pretty decent interpretations of it. But yeah, the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. There are a few translations of it. I don't remember the one that I prefer, but Ryan Holiday is a good interpreter of philosophy. He does pretty well with his interpretations. I don't agree with him on everything, but he's a pretty decent entry point as he tends to explain things very simply. So, and I think that's very important because, like I said, philosophy is not complex. It is not. Philosophy is a very simplistic understanding of the simplicity and complexities of human nature. It sounds complex because a lot of times the people who are explaining it don't understand it. The Philosophy Song by Monty Python. I bought a Cledar in Dublin 6 years ago, and I've worn it every day since. That's beautiful. They're wonderful symbols. I should do a story time on them because Cledar are a very beautiful part of Celtic culture. And I think a lot of people would probably enjoy incorporating it into their life and with their loved ones if they knew more about it. All right, let's continue reading, my friends. We are almost through this chapter. I think we'll see. You'd better come up, said Xenophilius, looking extremely uncomfortable, and he led the way. The room above seemed to be a combination of living room and workplace, and as such was even more cluttered than the kitchen, though much smaller and entirely round. The room somewhat resembled the room of requirement on the unforgettable occasion that it had transformed itself into the gigantic labyrinth comprised of centuries of hidden objects. There were piles upon piles of books and papers on every surface, delicately made models of creatures Harry did not recognize, all flapping wings or snapping jaws hung from the ceiling. Luna was not there. The thing that was making such a racket was a wooden object covered in magically turning cogs and wheels. It looked like the bizarre offspring of a workbench and a set of old shelves, but after a moment Harry had deduced that it was an old-fashioned printing press, due to the fact that it was churning out quibblers. "Excuse me," said Xenophilius as he strode over the machine, seized a grubby tablecloth from behind the immense number of books and papers, all of which tumbled onto the floor, and he threw it over the press, somewhat muffling the loud bangs and clatters, and then he faced Harry. Why have you come here?" Before Harry could speak, however, Hermione let out a small cry of shock. "Mr. Lovegood, what is that?" She was pointing at an enormous grey spiral horn that, not unlike that of a unicorn, which had been mounted on the wall, protruding several feet into the room. It's the horn of a crumplehorn snorkack," said Xenophilius. "No, it isn't," said Hermione. "Hermione," muttered Harry, embarrassed. "Now's not the moment." "But Harry, that's a Eurumpet horn. It's a Class B tradable material. It's an extraordinarily dangerous thing to have in your house." "How do you know it's a Eurumpet horn?" said Ron, edging away from the horn as fast as he could, given the extreme clutter of the room. "There's a description in the Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. Mr. Lovegood, you need to get rid of it straight away. Don't you know it can explode at the slightest touch?" "The crumplehorn snorkack?" said Xenophilius very clearly, a mulish look upon his face.
It's a shy and highly magical creature in its horn. Mr. Lovegood, I recognize the groove markings around the base. That's a Eurumpet horn, and it's incredibly dangerous. I don't know where you got it.
I bought it, said Xenophilius dogmatically.
It was 2 weeks ago, from a delightful young wizard who knew of my interest in the exquisite Snorkak. A Christmas surprise for my Luna now,
he said, turning to Harry.
Why exactly have you come here, Mr. Potter?
We need some help, said Harry before Hermione could start again. Ah, said Xenophilius.
Help,
His good eye moved again to Harry's scar. He seemed simultaneously terrified and mesmerized.
Yes, the thing is, helping Harry Potter is rather dangerous.
Aren't you the one who keeps telling everyone it's their duty to help Harry? Said Ron. In that magazine of yours? Xenophilius glanced around behind him, concealed the printing press still begging, clattering beneath the tablecloths.
Well, yes, I have expressed that view, however...
That's for everyone else to do, not you personally, said Ron. Xenophilius did not answer. He kept swallowing, his eyes darting between the three of them. Harry had the impression that he was undergoing some painful internal struggle.
Where's Luna? Asked Hermione. Let's see what she thinks.
Xenophilius gulped. He seemed to be steeling himself. Finally, he said in a shaky voice, difficult to hear over the noise of the printing press,
Luna is down at the stream, fishing for fresh water plimpies. She will like to see you. I'll go call her and then... Yes, very well. I shall try to help you.
He disappeared down the spiral staircase, and they heard the front door open and close. They looked at each other. Cowardly old wart, said Ron. Luna's got 10 times his guts.
He's probably worried about what will happen to him if the Death Eaters find out I was here, said Harry. Well, I agree with Ron, said Hermione. Awful old hypocrite, telling everyone else they're to help you and trying to worm out of it himself. And for heaven's sakes, keep away from that horn.
Harry had crossed to the window on the far side of the room. He could see a stream, a thin, glittering ribbon lying far below them at the base of the hill. They were very high up. A bird fluttered past the window as he stared in the direction of the burrow, now invisible beyond the line of hills. Ginny was over there somewhere. They were closer to each other today than they had been since Bill and Flora's wedding. But she could have no idea he was gazing toward her now, thinking of her. He supposed he ought to be glad of it. Anyone he came into contact with was in danger. Xenophilius' attitude proved that. He turned away from the window, and his gaze fell upon another peculiar object standing upon the cluttered curved sideboard. A stone bust of a beautiful but austere-looking witch, wearing the most bizarre-looking headdress. 2 objects that resembled golden ear trumpets curved out of the sides. A tiny pair of glittering blue wings was stuck to a leather strap that ran over the top of her head, while one of the orange radishes had been stuck to a second strap around her forehead.
Look at this,
said Harry. Fetching, said Ron. Surprised he didn't wear that one to the wedding. They heard the front door close, and a moment later Xenophilius had climbed back up the staircase into the room, his thin legs now encased in Wellington boots, bearing a tray of ill-assorted teacups and a steaming teapot.
Ah, you've spotted my invention, my pet invention,
said Harry. He said, shoving the tray into Hermione's arms and joining Harry at the statue's side.
Modelled, fittingly enough, upon the head of my beautiful Rowena Ravenclaw. Wit beyond measure is a man's greatest treasure.
He indicated the objects like ear trumpets.
These are the waxput siphons, to remove all sources of distractions from Thinker's immediate area. Here, he pointed to the tiny wings, a billywig propeller to induce an elevated frame of mind, and finally, he pointed to the orange radish, a dirigible plum so as to enhance the ability to accept the extraordinary. Xenophilius strode back to the tea tray, which Hermione had managed to place precariously on one of the cluttered side tables. May I offer you an infusion of gutty roots? Said Xenophilius. We make it ourselves. As he started to pour out the drink, which was a deeply purple as a beetroot juice, he added, Luna is down beyond Bottom Bridge. She is most excited that you're here. She ought not to be long. She has caught nearly enough blimpies to make the soup for all of us. Do sit down. Help yourselves to sugar. Now, he removed the tottering pile of papers from an armchair and sat down, his Wellington legs crossed. How may I help you, Mr. Potter? Well, said Harry, glancing at Hermione, who nodded encouragingly. It's about that symbol you were wearing around your neck at Bill and Flora's wedding, Mr. Lovegood. We wondered what it meant. Xenophilius raised his eyebrows. Are you referring to the sign of the Deathly Hallows?
Roll credits. And there ends chapter 21, or chapter 20 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, my friends. Now comes the question. Do we have time for another chapter? I have a stainless steel North-style wolf-head bracelet on my right wrist that I got at my sister's wedding, and I have a Hail Odin bracelet on my left wrist, as well as a Mjolnir pendant from my mom. Beautiful, Tyson. Beautiful. I was given a Claddagh as a child from a vendor at the Highland Games near me after participating in the parade/march and performing dances with my classes and the audience participation dances. It was very nice and said I earned it. I still have it and need it resized. I love when jewelry and adornments can be passed down. Typically what in our family we'll pass down one adornment from father to son and one adornment from father to daughter, and then the same one adornment from mother to son, one adornment from mother to daughter. When we come of age. Tagol Agamort. I have an Athena shirt I got at the Parthenon in Greece. Always keep your head, as Athena would say, always keep your head. Okay, so let's see how long this next chapter is to see if we have time. We may have time, we may not. So 67. 67. It's 11 pages if I put my head down and really battle through it. I think we can do another chapter, huh? What say you? Should we do another chapter, friends? It's getting late. It's almost 8:30. Bear's already on board. Tell that to Charles I. I'm back. What did I miss? You missed the end of the chapter. Where Xenophilius reveals that the symbol he was wearing was the symbol of the Deathly Hallows. So, what we're going to get in our next chapter is the tale of three brothers. And I think we have just enough time to get through it. What do you say? What say you, patrons of the tavern? Never too late for another chapter. I'll listen to another chapter, says Tess. All right. Milo says another chapter. I've got my mother's jewelry, thinking about getting some of it melted down and reforged into a family signet ring. That would be beautiful, Kova. I gave my first wife a Claddagh, which she gave to rabbits before we got married, which I thought was, yeah, very nice indeed. One more chapter, says Uncle Scooby. I go with what the masses says. All right, Ashley. All right, let me go check on the lady. We'll run ads one more time on Twitch so that we don't get stuck in an ad again. And then I will, when I come back, we'll do chapter 21, The Tale of Three Brothers. So the next readathon will be after we finish both of these books, which I think should be done before the end of January, Esther. So the next readathon should either be the last week of January or the first week of February, tentatively. I'll let you all know a couple of weeks before what it's looking like, because we are. Let's see. How far are we through? We are halfway through Deathly Hollows, and we are almost completely done with the Darkness at Sethenon. And whatever book we finish first, which will likely be a Darkness at Sethenon, when that book is finished, we'll then do whatever remaining books, so either Harry Potter or Darkness at Sethenon. We will read only that book until we are done. Then once we're done, I'm gonna take a week of no reading. We're not gonna do any reading. We'll just do waffle story times, I guess, or whatever we decide to do. And then the week after we're finished with these two books, we'll do the readathon. Then that'll give me a little bit of a break, a little bit of a reprieve, and then we'll do a full week of reading where you guys will be able to extend the amount of time we read each day, and we'll do that for up to a week. And we'll try and get through. We'll do a vote over in the guild. I know it's likely going to end up being Tolkien again, because everybody's real keen on going through The Hobbit and then going through Lord of the Rings and then doing some of the Silmarillion. And what we'll probably do this time, because the Silmarillion is really dense, what we'll probably do is we'll read a few chapters, and then at the end of every session, we'll read some of the Silmarillion, I think. Can we have a cooking and baking contest as well as a writing one? Some of your recipes? I was stream making. We can do that. I don't see why not. Yeah, it's going to be necessary, because the last time we did the readathon, at the end of it, I was bleeding. Like, my throat was bleeding because I'd overdone it. So, but yeah, that sounds like something we can do, Milo. I don't see why not. We can do some tavern recipe competitions. I don't see why not. I need to get the tavern recipe book done as well, and let you guys submit photos of the finished product for the book. Get Manuka honey before you start. Yeah, I actually have some really good honey. Manuka honey is good. I'll get some of that too. But I have some really good honey I just picked up, and I'll be drinking mint tea with honey during the readathon, just so that I don't blow my voice out again. All right, we're going to run one more round of ads over on Twitch, friends. We're going to take a 3-minute break. I'm going to go check on the lady, get her some more drink and treats, and then yeah, we don't want me with a bleeding throat again. I was out of commission for 2 weeks the last time that happened, so we're gonna be very careful this time. All right, I'm gonna go and get the lady some things, and then I will be. Yeah, of course, Kova. I will be right back, friends. Barkeeps, keep everybody entertained for me, if you will, and I will be right back. All right, my friends, I have returned. The lady is properly caffeinated and fed. When it comes to honey, I only go for the best Tasmanian honey, specifically Manuka. Is my top choice. There's something truly special about 100% Tasmanian honey that sets it apart. It's simply unbeatable. Susan, hello and welcome in. I'm so very glad you could join us. Thank you for the hearty tips of the tavern people. Always appreciated. You missed one chapter, Bobby. You missed a chapter where they go to find Luna Lovegood's father. So the only thing significant from that chapter that you missed is that the symbol that Xenophilius was wearing is the symbol of the Deathly Hallows. You won't believe the health benefits. I've discovered everything all natural, organic, no factory produced stuff here. I'm lucky enough to have a relative who sends those wonderful goodies up to me in Queensland. It's an incredible way to stay healthy while supporting homegrown products. As far, I used to have a fairly sized audience of people from Australia on TikTok, and so I would go on and intentionally mispronounce Australian town names just to poke fun at my Australian friends. So I'd go on and I'd say something like Queensland or Brisbane, things like that. just because Australians are very particular about how their towns are pronounced. Well, towns and provinces and whatnot. That's great, but unless nothing but Manuka grows for 60 kilometers in any direction, that can't be called Manuka honey. That's fair enough. While you were away, I joked that the chair fur was your long beard. It very well could be. I know what Yar thinks. I have read all the books previously. Perfect. Excellent, Bobby, and it's good to see you. I'm glad you dropped in. All right, friends, we're going to dive into another chapter. I'm going to put my head down and battle through this one, so if I miss anything that anyone is saying, I apologize. Ashley, thank you for holding up the bar over on TikTok. It is appreciated. All right. Let's wet the whistle and continue onward. Quick, get him on sandwiches. I don't like sandwiches. I actually don't usually eat sandwiches. I know I'm odd for that. There are very few sandwiches that I like. A lot of people be like, well, what about a peanut butter and jelly? Peanut butter and jelly is barely a sandwich. This is basically a dessert. Peanut butter and jelly is basically a pastry of sorts. But I don't like cold sandwiches. I'll eat a grilled cheese, but I don't think there's anybody in the world that wouldn't eat a grilled cheese. You have to be a heathen not to eat grilled cheese. But yeah, I just don't typically like sandwiches. For many years, I've been enjoying genuine Manuka honey, and let me tell you, it's truly a real deal. This isn't just any honey, 100% Manuka honey sourced from Tasmania. I feel like Esther is trying to sell us all Manuka honey. I'm fortunate enough to get it for free through a relative, and I can confidently say it's authentic stuff. It's nothing quite like the rich, unique flavor and health benefits of pure Manuka. I wouldn't know. What? Yeah, I don't like sandwiches, I know. I actually don't like most things that have bread in them. Like most... Cheese is like... Hello, Cassie, good to see you, love. I don't eat a whole lot of sandwiches. In my entire... Even when I make burgers here at home, I will eat them by themselves. I don't even put them on bread. I'll put some cheese on it, and I'll put it in a bowl, and I'll just eat it. Because I season and marinate my burger patties, so I don't need like the sauce or anything that would be with the bread. And I don't put lettuce, because lettuce is a pointless vegetable, so I don't put lettuce on it. Yeah, and it's just I don't like, and I don't eat a whole lot of sandwiches. Like maybe like a sub sandwich, maybe? I don't know. Lucy, I love sourdough. Sourdough is delicious. Again, I don't eat a whole lot of bread. But if I'm gonna make myself toast or I'm gonna make myself garlic bread, I really like sourdough for that. Different form. Yeah, usually if you're going to eat honey, you should eat honey local to where you live, because then it's going to put friendly flora into your body. It helps with allergies and things like that. I do love a good French dip, Bobby, but it's so hard to find a good French dip. I love French dip, but it's so hard to find a good one. Usually the au jus is either way, way, way too salty or way, way, way too bland. It's very hard for me to, like, even out here in Los Angeles, which is like the mecca of foods. Like, you can find, like, I can walk, if I walked for 30 minutes in any direction, I could find just about every cuisine. But yeah, no, I do like some sandwiches, but not. Matty, I roll for getting casserole on sandwiches. Look. I just know that I'm weird for not liking sandwiches, because sandwiches are like something that everybody loves, and I just don't. I've recently started to convert my sandwiches to wraps and burritos. See, a wrap or a burrito, I'll be on that all day. Wait, what did you say about 10 or 15 minutes ago, Bear? Darn, you're now making me hungry. I know, I'm sorry. Don't dispute that, I make mine. Right. See, there you go. Philly cheesesteak. See, I like the contents of Philly cheesesteak. I don't like Philly cheesesteak as a sandwich. I am in LA. Well, not in LA. I live in the Valley. I used to live up near the middle of California, but my wife lived down in the LA area. So when we got together, I moved down near her. Oh, the closer you are to the hive. Right. Sorry, Bear. I should have guessed that. Digger, hello. Tell Dimples we send her our love. Your spouse mentioned that. I forgot that. Matthias and Dimples both need gigantic kisses from the tavern. Go ahead and give them a big slobbery one from us. We live in the mountains. I live in Barstow and work in Riverside. Working from home 3 days a week, thankfully. Yeah, we live out in the Granada Hills area. Ace. I grew up in Ireland and a little bit in Norway. And kind of traveled around with my grandfather when I was a boy. But I've lived out in the United States for 20 years. 18 of those years I've lived in California. Digger, thank you for the live, brother. I appreciate it. We're doing our part. The tavern's doing its part to make sure everybody's spouses stay healthy. I live in the forest, no joke. The lady and I want to live in the forest. We want to live in the mountains of the forest. We want to be up in Montana, but for now we're in sunny, sunshiny, wastelandy Southern California. The mountains are alive with wildlife, creating a serene, beautiful atmosphere. It's a breathtaking experience to witness nature thriving on its tranquil haven. Yeah, that's what the lady and I would like to get to mountains at some point. I have my own hives, and I've been studying them for 5 years. Most of what people tell you is crap. About bees in general, or about honey, Bear? Yeah, most of what you hear online about really anything, you can only really accept about 50% of it as being accurate in any way, because most of the time people love to exaggerate about things. I miss being in our forest. It needs so much work right now. Half of it fell down with crazy weather last year, and it is sad. It is sad. Yeah, I mean, honey does have a lot of health benefits. Honey does have, like, again, when you eat local honey, it can help relieve allergies, because it's bringing in all of the friendly flora from the environment. Like, that's scientifically proven. Hey, look at that! Arthur Christie and the Badgers popping in for a hello. You guys caught me just before I put my head down to start reading again, so let's give you a toot on the rain horn. Yeah, the price that some people pay for charge for honey is absolutely ridiculous. Here we go, 3, 2, 1, cover your ears. Less than 50% castle, now you question everything. Yeah, you absolutely should question everything. What I mean is not 50% of everything you see, but anything you see that is even remotely accurate, only take it at 50% is what I mean. Let's get a shout out for Arthur Christie real quick. If any of you are not following Arthur Christie, she is lovely. She's a writer, and she does writing and writing and relaxation and reading streams. I love that horn. I love it too. It is a staple of the community. Welcome in, Raiders. So very glad that you could join us to see who all popped in. I didn't read everybody's name as they came in. We had Macy Paul, who is a return, and Rebecca. Welcome in, friends. So very glad that you could join us. Not sure what the staple is for my community. Well, I only ever get to be in with you passively. Because when I keep folk up, they're usually in the background. But it seems like coziness and talking about writing and talking about the art of storytelling, I think all of those things are perfectly acceptable. All the Viking raspberries, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Christy, if you'd like to, you do have a book that is published, correct? If you do have a book that is published, you can drop it to one of the moderators and they'll post a link for you if you like. And actually, Christy, if you want to just drop a link to your book to me, I can drop it in the chat for everyone. It's too hard for my Viking raspberry shirt. It is quite. Somebody said something about Montana. Hang on, I missed it because the raid came in. Oh, Cassie said since you like cold, you'd do well in the Montana winters. So we went to. I hadn't spent any amount of time in Montana until recently. I'll drop you a link to my website in the DM. Perfect. Go ahead and do that. Castle adding to my TBR. Well, hopefully we'll be adding tavern books to your TBR very soon, Bobby. We've changed our production schedule a little bit so that we have more time to work on the books. Because I've been promising you guys books for over a year now, and I'd really like to get them out at some point. All right, excellent. So if you guys are interested in what Christy does, go ahead and check out her website there. But yeah, we went up to Bear, and I will make sure people. Every state, I will say, I've traveled all over the world. I've lived in 13 countries, and I've been in a lot of places in the world. The United States is overwhelmingly beautiful and varied in its landscapes. Like, there are few places in the world that are as beautiful as the United States. Everywhere has its unique beauties, but for a singular country, the variation of landscapes and things that you can find in the US it's like nowhere else in the world. The United States is incredibly beautiful. And the cultures that vary, like, if you go from one country to another in Europe, if you go from, say, Italy to Spain, like, there is a pretty big culture shift between Italy and Spain, right? But you get that same shift if you go from Texas to Alabama, or if you go from North Carolina to South Carolina, or if you go from Florida to Tennessee, or if you go from Louisiana to Kentucky. Like, there are huge culture shifts in these different states in the US, and I don't think a lot of people who've never been to America understand how. Yeah, actually, where my parents, because my parents used to have like an animal rescue out in California, which is why I came to live here after I left my grandfather. And they had a ranch animal rescue out in the middle of the desert in what was called the Antelope Valley. And it is one of two places in the world the Joshua tree grows. It grows in, I think, Jerusalem, and it grows here in Southern California. And there are these crazy, gnarled, haunting trees. They're very, very interesting. I need to head to bed, but thank you so much for taking care of my community. Have a great rest of your stream. Christy, it was wonderful to see you. I'm so glad that you dropped in. I'm glad I caught you this time. I hope that you rest well, and I hope that you rise tomorrow ready to conquer the day. And until the next time we see you, stay bloodthirsty, and may all the things you do tomorrow fall beneath your feet, and you be successful in all you try. But yeah, I a lot of people from back home, like I get a lot of mix and a lot of Scots who get upset at me for liking America, but I love the United States. The United States is so incredibly beautiful. Tess, you do. You have a lot of Joshua trees. They are these just like hauntingly beautiful gnarled things, and it's crazy that they only grow 2 places in the entire world. Amilu said Northern. I've never been into Northern Canada. Like I've been to Newfoundland, but I was only there briefly, and I was very young, so I don't remember it very well. And I've been to Nova Scotia, and I've been to God, what's the other big one on the East Coast that's above the Niagara Falls? Yeah, the United States is say what you will about how people feel about the U.S. The United States, with its people and the culture of it and the landscapes, are just incredibly beautiful. Look up Via Rail Routes on YouTube. It's just clipping of what you can see on the mainland. Ontario, not Labrador, Ontario. Thank you, Frost and Milo. I appreciate you. Yeah, Ontario, and then near where Matty lives, I've been there as well. Both times I was very only there for a short amount of time. Yeah, Milo, you live in Ontario, Vancouver, yes. It's a special person who can find beauty in nature wherever they go. Not everyone has an eye for art, so to speak. Yeah. Didn't I just run ads? Good lord, I thought I ran them when I got up. Did it not run? Bastards. Alright, well, we're gonna run ads real quick. Then we'll get running from there. And I agree with you, Cassie. I've been so many different places, and don't get me wrong, there are a lot of ugly places in the world, but most of them are ugly because people made them that way. Like, there's a lot of really beautiful things out here in Southern California, but a lot of the cities are really ugly. And it's because people don't take care of them. The cities out here in Los Angeles are very poorly maintained and cared for, and there's no sense of social responsibility, so the cities just look dreadful. It's the same thing in New York, same thing in Boston, same thing in Detroit. A lot of the major cities, but that's major cities almost everywhere I've been except for Japan. Like Japan and certain parts of China, it's different. But in most places I've been in Europe and in Africa and in the Middle East, the areas I've been, anytime there's a large city, it tends to become very ugly in certain areas because people just don't take care of it. Just not their butts unless it's sticking out of a flower. It's so cute, there's one place that truly captures my heart, it's Scotland. Crisp, cool weather complements the breathtaking mountains and stunning landscapes that seem to stretch on forever, not to mention the warmth of the people who makes it feel like home. My sister recently visited Scotland and she brought back a treasure trove of beautiful photos that capture the essence of this enchanting country. Yeah, Scotland is indeed very beautiful. I live in a small tourist town, but to their credit, they take pride in the natural beauty here. Yeah, and there are some, like, you can go out here in Southern California, there's a little town called Solvang, and it was a town founded by Dutch immigrants to the West Coast. And they built a whole, not Dutch, Danish immigrants? My brain's not working properly. Danish immigrants. And they built a whole little town that was meant to be like a little Denmark. And it's got like a statue to Hans Christian Andersen and this beautiful little library. It's a lovely, lovely little town. And there are places like that. But a lot of the major cities, like if you go to downtown LA or any of the big cities that are relatively large, most of them are very ugly. It's very hard to find big cities that are not really ugly because people just stop caring about them after a certain point. There's no sense of ownership, no sense of community after a city gets to a certain size, sadly. Northern Ontario had my heart until the black flies are out and are as thick as clouds. Yeah, I would imagine. Solvang is wonderful. Solvang is beautiful. I did a story time on Solvang that never came out last year. Not last year, back 2024. We did a whole story time about it where we went and we toured around and we showed the different areas of Solvang, and we were talking about the way that people migrate. And I never finished the story time. Now, 15 years ago, my dad visited Japan, and he was always says the language is surprisingly easy to pick up. Friendliness of people there truly made his experience unforgettable. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, every place still has its problems, but Japan is very beautiful. My town is almost too big to care, and it makes me sad. Yeah, it is always tragic when a community gets so big that it no longer cares about itself. It's a tragic evolution of modern societal aspects. So I'm in and out. I'm putting together a lot of stuff that needs going on with my medical life. I have to request freedom of info and give consent direct and more. I'm emotionally stressed. It's all right, Matty. Do what you got to do. Get your adult things done. No trouble from me. All right, friends, let's get this chapter done. I waffled for far too long. Chapter 21 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. The Tale of the Three Brothers. Harry turned to look at Ron and Hermione. Neither of them seemed to have understood what Xenophilius had said either.
The Deathly Hollows. Oh, yes, that's right, said Xenophilius. Haven't you heard of them? I'm not surprised. Very, very few wizards believe. Witness that knucklehead young man at your brother's wedding?
He nodded at Ron.
Who attacked me for sporting a symbol of a well-known dark wizard. Such ignorance. There is nothing dark about the Hollows. At least, not in the crude sense. One simply uses the symbol to reveal oneself to other believers, in the hope that they might help one with the quest.
He stirred several lumps of sugar into his gurdy root infusion and drank some.
I'm sorry, said Harry. I still don't understand.
To be polite, he took a sip from his cup too and almost gagged. The stuff was quite disgusting, as though someone had squeezed a bogey-flavored every-flavored beans. Had liquidized bogey-flavored every-flavored beans.
Well, you see, the believers seek the Deathly Hollows,
said Xenophilius, smacking his lips in apparent appreciation of the gurdy root infusion.
But what are the Deathly Hollows?
Asked Hermione. Xenophilius set aside his empty cup.
I assume you're familiar with the tale of the three brothers?
Harry said,
No.
But Ron and Hermione both said,
Yes.
Xenophilius nodded gravely.
Well, Mr. Potter, the whole thing starts with the tale of the three brothers. I have a copy somewhere.
He glanced vaguely around the room at the piles of parchment and books, but Hermione said,
I have a copy, Mr. Lovegood. I've got it right here.
And she pulled out the Tales of Beetle the Bard from the small beaded bag.
The original?
Inquired Xenophilius sharply, and when she nodded, he said,
Why don't you read it aloud? Much the best way to make sure we all understand. All right,
said Hermione nervously. She opened the book, and Harry saw that the symbol they were investigating headed the top of the page as she gave a little cough and began to read.
There were once three brothers who were travelling along lonely winding road at twilight.
Midnight, our mum always told us, said Ron, who had stretched out arms behind his head to listen. Hermione shot him a look of annoyance.
Sorry, I think it's a bit spookier if it's midnight, said Ron.
Yeah, because we really need a bit more fear in our lives, said Harry, before he could stop himself. Xenophilius did not seem to be paying much attention, but was staring out of the window at the sky. Go on, Hermione.
In time, the brothers reached a river too deep to wade through, and too dangerous to swim across. However, these brothers were learned in the magical arts, and so they simply waved their wands and made a bridge appear across the treacherous water. They were halfway across it when they found their path blocked by a hooded figure. And Death spoke to them.
Sorry, interjected Harry.
Death spoke to them? It's a fairy tale, Harry.
Right, sorry, go on.
And Death spoke to them. He was angry that he had been cheated out of 3 new victims, for travellers usually drowned in the river. But Death was cunning. He pretended to congratulate the 3 brothers upon their magic, and said that each one had earned a prize for having been clever enough to evade him. So the older brother, who was a combative man, asked for a wand more powerful than any in existence, a wand that must always win duels for its owner, a wand worthy of a wizard who had conquered death. So Death crossed to an elder tree on the banks of the river and fashioned a wand from its branch, and hung there and gave it to the oldest brother. The second brother, who was an arrogant man, decided that he wanted to humiliate Death still further, and asked for the power to recall others from death. So Death picked up a stone from the riverbank and gave it to the second brother, and told him that the stone would have the power to bring back the dead. And then Death asked the third and youngest brother what he would like. The youngest brother was the humblest, and also the wisest of the brothers, and he did not trust Death, so he asked for something that would enable him to go forth from that place without being followed by Death. And Death, most unwillingly, handed over his own cloak of invisibility. Death got an invisibility cloak.
Harry interrupted again.
So he can sneak up on people, said Ron. Sometimes he gets bored of running at them, flapping his arms and shrieking. Sorry, Hermione. Then Death stood aside and allowed the 3 brothers to continue on their way. And they did so, talking with wonder of the adventure they had had, and admiring Death's gifts. In due course, the brothers each separated, each for his own destination. The first brother travelled on the week...
Globe Trek Dragon, hello and welcome in. So very glad you could join us. Welcome, welcome.
The first brother travelled for a week or more, and reaching a distant village, sought out a fellow wizard with whom he had a quarrel. Naturally, the elder won as his weapon. He could not fail to win the duel that followed, leaving his enemy dead on the floor. The oldest brother proceeded to an inn where he boasted loudly of the powerful wand he had snatched from Death himself, and it made him invincible. That very night another wizard crept upon the oldest brother as he lay, wine-sodden, upon his bed. The thief took the wand and, for good measure, slit the older brother's throat. And so Death took the first brother for his own. Meanwhile, the second brother journeyed to his own home, where he lived alone. Here he took out the stone that had power to recall the dead, and turned it thrice in his hand. To his amazement and delight, the figure of a girl he had hoped to marry before her untimely death appeared at once before him. Yet she was sad and cold, separated from him as by a veil. Though she had returned to the mortal world, she did not truly belong there, and suffered. Finally, the second brother, driven mad with hopeless longing, killed himself so as to truly join her, and so Death took the second brother for his own. But though Death searched for the third brother for many years, he was never able to find him. It was only when he had attained great age that the youngest brother finally took off the cloak of invisibility, gave it to his son, and then he greeted Death as an old friend, and went with him gladly, and equals, they departed life.
Hermione closed the book. It was a moment or two before Xenophilius seemed to realize that she had stopped reading. Then he withdrew his gaze from the window and said,
Well, there you are. Sorry,
said Hermione, sounding confused.
Those are the Deathly Hallows,
said Xenophilius. He picked up a quill from the table at his elbow and pulled a torn piece of parchment from between more books.
The Elder Wand, he said, drew a straight vertical line upon the parchment. The Resurrection Stone, he said as he added a circle on top of the line. And the Cloak of Invisibility, he finished, enclosing both line and circle in a triangle, to make the symbol so intrigued Hermione. Together, he said, the Deathly Hallows. There's no mention of the word Deathly Hallows in the story, said Hermione. Well, of course not, said Xenophilius, the maddeningly mug. That is a children's tale, told to amuse rather than to instruct. Those of us who understand these matters, however, recognize that the ancient story refers to 3 objects, or hallows, which, if united, make the possessor master of death. There was a short silence in which Xenophilius glanced out the window. Already the sun was low in the sky. No, now, to have enough plimpies soon, he said quietly. When you say master of death, said Ron. Master, said Xenophilius, waving an airy hand. Conqueror, vanquisher, whatever term you prefer. But then, do you mean... And Hermione slowly, and Harry could tell that she was trying to keep any trace of skepticism out of her voice. That you believe these objects, these hallows, actually exist? Xenophilius raised his eyebrow again. Well, of course. But, said Hermione, and Harry could hear her restraint starting to crack. But Mr. Lovegood, how could you possibly believe? Luna has told me all about you, young lady, said Xenophilius. You are, I gather, not unintelligent, but painfully limited, narrow, and closed-minded. Perhaps you ought to try on the hat, Hermione, said Ron, nodding towards the ludicrous headdress. His voice shook with the strain of not laughing. Mr. Lovegood, Hermione began again, we all know that there are such things as invisibility cloaks. They are rare, but they exist. But the third hallow is a true invisibility cloak. Cloak of invisibility, Miss Granger. I mean to say that it is not a travelling cloak endued with disillusionment charms, but carrying a bedazzling hex, or else woven from a demiguise's hair, which will hide one initially, but fade when the years, until it turns opaque. We're talking about a cloak that really, truly renders the wearer completely invisible, and endures eternally, giving constant and impenetrable concealment, no matter what spells are cast at it. How many cloaks have you ever seen like that, Miss Granger? Hermione opened her mouth to answer, and then closed it again, looking more confused than ever. She, Harry, and Ron glanced at one another, and Harry knew that they were all thinking the same thing. It so happened that a cloak exactly like the one Xenophilius had described was in the room with him at this very moment. Exactly, said Xenophilius, as if he had defeated them all in a recent argument. None of you have ever seen such a thing. The possessor would be immeasurably rich, would he not? He glanced out of the window again, and the sky was now tinged with the faintest traits of pink. All right, said Hermione, disconcerted. Say the cloak existed. What about the stone, Mr. Lovegood? The thing you call a resurrection stone? What of it? Well, how can it be real? Prove that it is not, said Xenophilius. Hermione looked outraged. I'm sorry, but that's completely ridiculous. How can I possibly prove it doesn't exist? How do you expect me to get a hold of all of the pebbles in the world and test them? I mean, you could claim that anything's real if the only basis for believing it isn't is that nobody's proved it doesn't exist. Yes, you could, said Xenophilius. I'm glad you see that you're opening your mind a little bit. So, the Elder One, said Harry quickly before Hermione could retort. You think that exists too? Well, of course, in that case there is endless evidence, said Xenophilius. The Elder One is the hallow that is most easily traced because of the way in which it passes from hand to hand. Which is what? Asked Harry. Well, which is that the possessor of the wand must capture it from its previous owner, if he is to be truly master of it, said Xenophilius. Surely you have heard of the way the wand came to Egbert of the Egregious after his slaughter of Emmerich the Evil, and of how Godelot died in his own cellar after his son, Hereward, took the wand from him, of the dreadful Loxes, who took the wand from Barnabas Deveril, whom he had killed. The bloody trail of the Elder One is splattered across the pages of wizarding history. He glanced at Hermione. She was frowning at Xenophilius, but she did not contradict him. So, where do you think the Elder One is now? Asked Ron. Alas, who knows? He gazed out the window. Who knows where the Elder One lies now, hidden? The trail goes cold after Arcus and Livius. Who can say which of them was defeated, really defeated Loxus, and which took the wand? And who can say how many have defeated them? History, alas, does not tell us. There was a pause, and finally Hermione asked stiffly, Mr. Lovegood, does the Peveril family have anything to do with the Deathly Hallows? Xenophilius looked taken aback by something, shifted in Harry's memory, but he could not locate it. Peveril. He had heard that name before. But you have been misleading me, young woman, said Xenophilius, now sitting up straighter in his chair and goggling at Hermione. I thought you were new to the Hallows quest, but many of us questers believe that the Peverils have everything to do with the Hallows. Who are the Peverils? Asked Ron. That was the name on the grave with the mark on it in Godric's Hollow, said Hermione, still watching Xenophilius. Ignotus Peveril. Exactly, said Xenophilius, his forefinger raised pedantically. The sign of the Deathly Hallows on Ignotus's grave is conclusive proof. Of what? Asked Ron. Why, the three brothers in the story were actually three Peveril brothers, Antioch, Cadmus, and Ignotus. That they were the original owners of the Hallows. With another glance at the window, he got to his feet, picked up the tray, and headed for the spiral staircase. You will stay for dinner, he called as he vanished downstairs again. Everybody always requests our recipe of freshwater plimpy soup. Probably to show the poisoning department at St. Mungo's, said Ron under his breath. Harry waited until they could hear Xenophilius moving about in the kitchen downstairs before speaking. What do you think? He asked Hermione. Oh, Harry, she said wearily. It's a pile of utter rubbish. This can't be what the sign really means. This must just be his weird take on it. What a waste of time. I suppose this is the man who brought us a crumplehorn snorkax, said Ron. You don't believe it either? Harry asked him. Nah. That story's just one of those things you tell kids to teach them lessons, isn't it? Don't go looking for trouble, don't pick fights, don't go mess around with stuff that's best left alone. Just keep your head down, mind your business, you'll be okay. Come to think of it, Ron added, maybe that story's why the Elder One's supposed to be unlucky. What are you talking about? One of those superstitions, isn't it? Mayborn witches will marry muggles. Jinxed by twilight undone by midnight. Wand of Elder never prosper. You must have heard 'em. My mom's full of 'em. Harry and I were raised by muggles, Hermione reminded him. We were taught different superstitions. She sighed deeply as the rather pungent smell drifted up from the kitchen. The one good thing about her exasperation with Xenophilius was that it seemed to have made her forget that she was annoyed at Ron. I think you're right, she told him. It's just a mortality tale. It's obvious which gift is best, which one you'd choose. The three of them spoke at the same time, and Hermione said, The cloak. Ron said, The wand. And Harry said, The stone. They looked at each other, half surprised, half amused. You're supposed to say the cloak, Ron told Hermione. But you wouldn't need to be invisible if you had the wand. An unbeatable wand, Hermione, come on. We already have an invisibility cloak, said Harry. And it's helped us a rather lot, in case you hadn't noticed, said Hermione. Whereas the wand would be bound to attract trouble. Only if you shouted about it, argued Ron. Only if you were prat enough to go dancing around waving it over your head and singing, "I've got an unbeatable wand, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough." As long as you kept your trap shut. Yes, but could you keep your trap shut? Said Hermione, looking skeptical. You know, the only true thing he said to us was that there have been stories about extra powerful wands for hundreds of years. There have, said Harry. Hermione looked exasperated. The expression was so endearingly familiar that Harry and Ron grinned at each other. The Death Stick, the Wand of Destiny, they crop up under different names through the centuries, usually in the possession of some dark wizard who's boasting about them. Professor Binns mentioned them, but it's all nonsense. Wands are only as powerful as the wizards who use them. Some wizards just like to boast that theirs is bigger and better than other people's. But how do you know, said Harry, that those wands, the Death Stick, the Wand of Destiny, aren't the same wand, resurfacing over the centuries under different names? What? And they're all really the Elder Wand made by death? What? And they're all really the Elder Wand made by death? Said Ron. Harry laughed. The strange idea that had occurred to him was, after all, ridiculous. His wand, he reminded himself, had been of holly, not elder, and it had been made by Ollivander. Whatever it had done the night Voldemort pursued him across the skies, and if it had been unbeatable, how could it have been broken? So why would you take the stone? Ron asked him. If I could bring people back, we could have Sirius and Mad-Eye, Dumbledore and my parents. Neither Ron nor Hermione smiled. But according to Beedle the Bard, they wouldn't want to come back, would they? Said Harry, thinking about the tale they had just heard. I don't suppose there have been loads of other stories about a stone that can raise the dead, have there? He asked Hermione. No, she replied sadly. I don't think anyone except Mr. Lovegood would kid themselves that it's possible. Beedle probably took the idea from the Sorcerer's Stone, you know. Instead of a stone to make you immortal, a stone to reverse death. The smell from the kitchen was getting stronger. It was something like the burning of underpants. Harry wondered whether it would be possible to eat enough of whatever Xenophilius was cooking to spare his feelings. What about the cloak, though? Said Ron slowly. Don't you realise he's right? I've got so used to Harry's cloak and how good it is, I never stopped to think. I've never heard of one like Harry's. It's infallible. We've never been spotted under it. Of course not. We were invisible when we were under it, Ron. But all the stuff he said about other cloaks, they're not exactly a Tenica nut, you know, it's true. It's never occurred to me before, but I've heard stuff about charms wearing off of cloaks as they get old, or them being ripped apart by spells so they got holes in. Harry's it was owned by his dad, so it's not exactly new, is it? But it's just perfect. Yes, all right, but Ron, the stone. As they argued in whispers, Harry moved around the room, only half listening. Reaching the spiral stair, he raised his eyes absently at the next level and was distracted at once. His own face was looking back at him from the ceiling of the room above. After a moment's bewilderment, he realized that it was not a mirror, but a painting. Curious, he began to climb the stairs. Harry, where are you doing? I don't think we should look around when he's not here. But Harry had already reached the next level. Luna had decorated her bedroom ceiling with 5 beautifully painted faces. Harry, Ron, Hermione, Ginny, and Neville. They were not moving as the portraits in Hogwarts moved, but there was a certain magic about them all the same. Harry thought they breathed. What appeared to be a fine golden chains wove around through the pictures, linking them together. But after examining them for a minute or so, Harry realized that the chains were actually one word, repeated 1,000 times in a golden link. Friends, friends, friends. Harry felt a great rush of affection for Luna. Now, let me ask you this. If you went into a friend's bedroom and they had a picture of you and all your friends painted on their ceiling, you've never been to their home before, and they had a picture of you and your other friends painted on the ceiling,
bound together by a long chain of words written in gold that just said friends, friends, friends over and over again. Would you be flattered or would you be terrified? I would tend to wager that you would be terrified. Because that is a terrifying thing to stumble upon. Confused, I think, is the minimum emotion you should be. My former bestie had that. I was freaked out. She is a bit odd. She is a bit odd, I will grant you that. And maybe they're used to Luna's oddities by now. But if you had only known her for a bit, and that was I would be... Something magical about those early morning runs at 4:30 a.m. The air is refreshingly cool, and the world is still wrapped in a gentle darkness. Just a hint of dawn beginning. Yeah, mornings are beautiful. I don't often make them to them. Cassie, good night. Rest well. Long day at work tomorrow. Already stayed up later than I should. All right, good night. We're almost done. We're almost done, everybody. I appreciate you all. Or at least creeped out if I saw that. At the very minimum, you should be confused. At the very most, I would say you should be creeped out. Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate you. Digger, thank you for the live. Tips to the tavern keeper always appreciate. I adore Luna's character. Luna's character is one of the most complex and well-written characters in the story. We can't go out certain hours for ribs and was my dog's walls runs, not ribs. My dog's walks because the coyotes get ballsy and are hungry. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Yeah, Luna is a lovely, wonderful character. I love Luna's character. This particular thing, remember, I've never read this book before. I've never read the seventh book. So this is my first time encountering this particular scene. That would be terrifying to me. I would be very confused. Okay. Harry felt a great rush of affection for Luna. He looked around the room, and there was a large photograph beside the bed of a young Luna and a woman who looked very like her. They were hugging, and Luna looked rather better groomed in this picture than Harry had ever seen her in her life. The picture was dusty. This struck Harry as slightly odd. He stared around. Something was wrong. The pale blue carpet was so thick with dust. There were no clothes in the wardrobe, whose door stood ajar. The bed had a cold, unfriendly look, as though it had not been slept in for weeks. A single cobweb stretched over the nearest window across the blood-red sky. "What's wrong?" Hermione asked Harry as he descended the staircase. But before he could respond, Xenophilius reached the top of the stairs from the kitchen, now holding a tray laden with bowls. "Mr. Lovegood," said Harry, "where's Luna?" "Excuse me? Where's Luna?" Xenophilius halted on the top step. I've already told you. She's down at Bottom Bridge, fishing for plimpies." "So why have you only laid that tray for 4? Xenophilius tried to speak, but no sound came. The only noise was the continued chugging of the printing press, and a slight rattle from the tray as Xenophilius's hand shook. "I don't think Luna's been here for weeks," said Harry. "Her clothes are gone, and her bed hasn't been slept in. Where is she? And why do you keep looking out of the window?" Xenophilius dropped the tray, and the bowls bounced and smashed. Harry and Ron and Hermione drew their wands, and Xenophilius froze, his hand about to enter his pocket. At that moment, the printing press gave a huge bang, and numerous quibblers came streaming out across the floor underneath the tablecloth. The press fell silent at last. Hermione stooped down and picked up one of the magazines, her wand still pointing at Mr. Lovegood. "Harry, look at this." He strode over to her as quickly as he could through all the clutter. The front of the quibbler carried his own picture emblazoned with the words, "Undesirable number 1," and was captioned with the reward money. "Quibbler's going for a new angle, then?" Harry asked coldly as his mind was working very fast. "Is that what you were doing when you went into the garden, Mr. Lovegood, sending an owl to the ministry?" Xenophilius licked his lips. They took my Luna," he whispered.
Because of what I've been writing, they took my Luna, and I don't know where she is. What they've done to her, but they have to give her back to me if I. They said they'd give her back to me if I hand over Harry.
Hermione finished for him. No deal, said Ron flatly. Get out of the way, we're leaving. Xenophilius looked ghastly, a century old, his lips drawn back into a dreadful leer.
They will be here at any moment. I must save Luna. I cannot lose Luna. You must not leave.
He spread his arms in front of the staircase, and Harry had a sudden vision of his mother doing the same thing in front of his crib. Don't make us hurt you, Harry said. Get out of the way, Mr. Lovegood.
Harry!
Hermione screamed. Figures on broomsticks were flying past the windows as the three of them looked away from him. Xenophilius drew his wand, and Harry realized their mistake just in time. He launched himself sideways, shoving Ron and Hermione out of harm's way, and Xenophilius' stunning spell soared across the room and hit the Eurofit horn. It was a colossal explosion. The sound of it seemed to blow the room apart. Fragments of wood and paper and rubble flew in all directions along with an impenetrable cloud of thick white dust. Harry flew through the air, then crashed to the floor, unable to see as debris... Buddy, don't use that one. Because then your mom's going to have to repair it again. It's a pain in the butt. It's either in your... Where's the one you've been using? Where's your brand new one? Why don't you plug it in using your phone cable?
I did, and it doesn't work like that.
Wait, why don't you have... Hang on a second, guys. Hang on. Sorry. Kids. How are Boo, Milo, and Kodak? They're all doing spectacular. They're actually all resting with the lady at the moment. Alright, friends, we're almost done. I'll poop, my anxiety is starting. Just make sure you take a little bit of time, breathe, Milo. Relax. Don't let your mind overrun. Sit and breathe, focus on a spot on the wall, and try not to let your thoughts overwhelm you. I'll get back to reading here in a second. I may leave from it. Go if you need to. Go ahead, Milu. Whatever you need to get your mind right. Boo, Milo, and Code are all doing good. They're all resting back with the lady, Esther. All right, here we go. The sound of it seemed to blow the room apart. Fragments of wood and paper and rubble flew in all directions along with an impenetrable cloud of thick white dust. Harry flew through the air and then crashed to the floor, unable to see as the breeze rained down upon him. His arms over his head, he heard Hermione scream, Ron's yell, and a series of sickening metallic thuds, which told him that Xenophilius had been blasted off his feet and fallen backwards down the spiral stairs. Half buried in rubble, Harry tried to raise himself but could barely breathe or see for dust. Half of the ceiling had fallen in, and the end of Luna's bed was hanging through the hole. The bust of Rowena Ravenclaw lay beside him, with half its face missing. Fragments of torn parchments were floating through the air, and most of the pretty breast lay on its side. Blocking the top of the staircase to the kitchen, then another white shape moved close by. And Hermione, coated in dust like a second statue, pressed her fingers to her lips. The door downstairs crashed open. "Didn't I tell you there was no need to hurry, Travers?" said a rough voice. "Didn't I tell you this nutter was just raving as usual?" There was no bang and a scream of pain. There was a bang and a scream of pain from Xenophilius. No, upstairs! Potter! "I told you last week, Lovegood, we weren't coming back for anything less than some solid information. Remember last week, when you wanted to swap your daughter with that stupid bleeding headdress? And the week before, another bang, another squeal. When you thought we'd give her back if you offered us proof, there were a crumpled bang, headed bang, snorcats." No, I beg you," sobbed Xenophilius. "It really is, Potter. It really. And now, it turns out you only called us here to try and blow us up," roared the Death Eater. And there was a volley of bangs interspersed with the squeals of agony from Xenophilius. "The place looks like it's about to fall in, Selwyn," a cool second voice echoing up the mangled stairs. "The stairs are completely blocked. Could try clearing it. Might bring the place down." "You lying piece of filth!" shouted the wizard named Selwyn. "You've never seen Potter before in your life, have you? Thought you'd lure us out here to kill us, did you? And you think you'll get your girl back like this?" I swear, Potter's upstairs." "A minimum revelio," said the voice at the foot of the stairs. Harry heard Hermione gasp, and had the odd sensation that something was swooping low over him, immersing his body in its shadow. "There is something up there, all right, Selwyn," said the second man sharply. "It's Potter! I tell you, it's Potter!" sobbed Xenophilius. Please give me Luna. Just let me have Luna." "You can have your little girl, Lovegood," said Selwyn, "if you get up those stairs and bring me back down, Harry Potter. Whether this is a plot, if it's a trick, if you've got an accomplice waiting up there to ambush us, we'll see if we can spare a bit of your daughter for you to bury." Xenophilius gave a wave of fear and despair. There were scurryings and scrapings, and Xenophilius was trying to get through the debris on the stair. "Come on," Harry whispered. "We've got to get out of here." He started to dig himself out from under cover of all of the noise Xenophilius was making on the staircase. Ron was buried deepest. Harry and Hermione climbed as quietly as they could over the wreckage to where he lay, trying to prise the heavy chest drawer off of his legs. While Xenophilius's banging and scraping drew nearer and nearer, Hermione managed to free Ron with the use of a hover charm. "All right," breathed Hermione, as the broken printing press blocking them top the stairs began to tremble. Xenophilius was feet away from them. She was still white with dust. "Do you trust me, Harry?" Harry nodded. "Okay, then," Hermione whispered. "Give me the invisibility cloak. Ron, you're going to put it on." "Me? But Harry..." "Ron, please." Harry, hold on tight to my hand. Ron, grab my shoulder. Harry held out his left hand. Ron vanished underneath the cloak. The printing press blocking the stairs was vibrating. Xenophilius was trying to shift it, using a hover charm, and Harry did not know what Hermione was waiting for. "Hold tight," she whispered. "Hold tight. Any second." Xenophilius's paper-white face appeared at the top of the sideboard. "Obliviate!" cried Hermione, pointing a wand first at his face, then at the floor beneath him. "De Primo!" She had blasted a hole in the sitting-room floor. They fell like boulders, Harry still holding onto her hand for dear life. There was a scream from below, and he glimpsed two men trying to get out of the way of the vast quantity of rubble and broken furniture all around them from the shattering of the ceiling. Hermione twisted in midair, and the thundering and collapsing of the house rang in Harry's ears as she dragged him once more into darkness. And so ends chapter 21 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Rob Shepherd, thank you kindly for the heart me and for the roses, my friend. Tips to the tavern keeper are always appreciated. Thank you very much. And that is where we are going to end for tonight, my friends. It is getting quite late. Yeah, I'll see you next time. Thank you for the reading, Castle. Good night, good day, everyone. Good night, Milu. Rest well. I hope you feel better. I hope your anxiety becomes alleviated. And I hope that you rest well. Have yourself a wonderful night and a wonderful rest. And I think that this is where we're going to... I don't think we're going to do songs tonight, Princess. I'm feeling a bit worn out. Thank you and good night, good sir. Tess, it was wonderful to have you. Have a wonderful rest of your night. For all of the new folks who've only just joined us for this time, remember, we have live story times on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Tuesday and Thursday are me, and Sunday is the lovely lady of the tavern. And all of our love to you, Ashley, and to Mateus. I appreciate both of you. To everyone who tipped the tavern keeper tonight, thank you very much. To all of you who shared the story time with friends, we appreciate you. And to all of you who came in here and gave us your time and trusted us to tell your story, thank you all as well. You are a part of what makes the tavern spectacular and magical, my friends, and we appreciate the hell out of you for it. Here is where we end, but not forever, my friends. Let's see if our friends over on Twitch, we can go and share the love with anybody. Let's see. I think Falcord is on, so we'll go ahead and probably raise over with her. Yes. Okay, so we'll raid our friend Falcord. And for the rest of you, this will be where we end tonight, my friends. I hope that you all enjoyed yourselves. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your evening, my friends. And know that while it is such sorrow to be parting with you today, that we will gather again soon here in the tavern for more stories. There are stories out almost every day from the tavern, and we appreciate all of you joining us for each and every time that you do. Digger, good night. Ashley, good night. Teresa, Matty, Bobby, Bear, Esther, all of you, my friends, I appreciate you all for spending time with us here in the tavern. And while it is a sad thing, a cool change is due soon. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I'm going to go and collapse with the here. Cool changes too soon. Thank you all for joining us, my friends. I hope that you enjoyed your time, and I will bid you that until next time we meet here in the tavern, stay bloodthirsty, and we will see you then. Good night, my friends.
Hi everyone, welcome in. You are just in time for story time. Like